not going to bore everybody here over there again. I'll do it at the end. Started? Okay, so I'll go back to the rules bit. I'll quickly say what we said at the beginning. Sorry for everyone else who's already heard it, but this is for the people who haven't been here. Ten's coming back as an admin. You may notice she didn't have her tags. You may have noticed that she hadn't been on the server. She made a mistake. She broke a rule. She was banned, and she had her tags taken off her. She's paid her penance. She's been punished. She's a fucking good admin, and she's done a lot of good work for this server in the background that you guys don't see, and she's done a lot of good work, some of which do see. So like everyone else that's dropped the bollock in this community, she's having a second chance, and she's coming back as an admin. If anyone's got issues with that, come and speak to me privately if you'd want to bring it up in here. And that goes for people listening to this after the meeting. What I'll say is this: she made a mistake, as which a majority of this community has on this server at some time or another. Hers isn't as bad as some people have done. She's paid the price, and that's the end of it. The same as it is the end for everyone else that drops a bollock in this server. If anyone makes to make a drama out of it, I suggest very strongly you come and speak to me first before you do that, because I won't have the patience of drama. I'm fed up of drama. Got all the time in the world for discussion. I got all the time in the world for conversation. I've got no time at all anymore for people that want to cause or try and stir up drama. You can have a very short stay here. So that's that. Things we voted on last week: the zombie no death, that's going to come in. PvP areas are going, that's going to come in. And server restarts will be 6 hours instead of 4. And we're going to trial it starting at 11 AM tomorrow. And then I need everyone to let me know if it works for them. It's going to work for EU sides, so it's not dark, etc. when people come home from work. I need to know if that works for people across the pond. And then we get on to what we're talking about now, which is time limit on storylines for absent people. A couple of people have brought it up to me, wanted me to bring it up tonight for a vote. What do you guys think? I'm going to do a straw poll for this. Do you mind doing that, Dark, if you're here? Or Sticky? No, Sticky, you do it, because Dark's obviously having a mental breakdown.
Seeing as this is the first time I've heard of it, what exactly?
Basically, what people are saying, if there's... I'll explain it, but just call it time limit on storylines.
Okay.
And yes or no for the answers. What people are saying is there's stories on the server that have had an impact on people. Some people are waiting for people involved in those stories to come back, and they haven't been back for a week. Is it fair that other people have to sit around and wait for that to progress their stories? I'm on two sides.
Well, then what would this vote do rule-wise?
We will give it a time limit, and we'll decide what that time limit is, whether it's 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Certainly won't be less than 2. I don't think that's fair, because people obviously got real life, etc. And if they aren't coming on, or they don't get in touch with us and tell us why they're not coming on, we'll kill the story. So whether people can carry on with their stories. Because it's not fair to people who are coming on the server or not coming on the server because they're waiting for other people to come on to progress their stories. They can't progress their stories, and then if they progress their stories and ignore the previous story, and then all of a sudden people turn up and say, right, I'm continuing my story now, that's going to fuck everyone else's stories up. So there's two sides to it.
I mean, wouldn't it kind of go through the roleplay of it anyway? If a group goes into hiding, they come back eventually. Typically, I mean,
or maybe not necessarily kill the story, but then they've got to bring that story back in a way that makes sense. They can't just come back and continue the story as if they were there yesterday type thing, because everyone else needs to progress their stories. And they can't put their stories on hold, and then all of a sudden someone turns up and says, right, well, yesterday, remember when I held you up, or yesterday when I did this, or yesterday when we said this and did that, and then the person has been playing, their story progressed 5, 6, 7 weeks down the line. Does that make sense? I don't know if I've explained that properly. Does that make sense, guys?
It does, but
yeah.
Why? I don't know. Can you give an example of like how it would like ruin a story? I just don't see how it can.
I can.
You know.
Go on, DT.
For example, someone like Chloe who lives in constant fear of a certain person. If that person never goes on, I can never progress that feeling of being in fear, and she would constantly be in hiding. I could never progress her in any way
Okay.
regarding to other people, because I can never finish that meeting with that person.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It's situational. It's it's whatever the story is, whether it be a hero character, a bad character. If that person or that character's got involved in someone else's story, and there's a lot of that person's story in someone else's story that's progressing their character or not progressing their character, or if they're hunting those people or they're not hunting those people, think of all the different scenarios there are where you've got involved with a number of people, or even one person. And it's affected your character so much that that person needs to be around for your story to progress. It's not really fair to people that are coming on, and I get there's real life, and if there is real life situations, then we'll deal with it differently. Do we kill the story? Maybe not kill the story, perhaps that's a bit too harsh. Maybe we come up with some reason and they have to work their way back into progressing their story, or there has to be some sort of background of where they've been, etc. Because it's not fair to other people.
Can I add something?
Go on.
In a situation like that, let's say, what was provided earlier, my character is living in fear of another person, so to speak. That person doesn't show up for a week.
Well, mate, you're breaking the...
I think I would, sorry?
You broke up at the end of that then. You said you got up as far as that person lives in fear for a week, and then you broke off.
That person is living in fear of that character, but that character doesn't show up for a week.
Mm-hmm.
Naturally, you would assume that that person has disappeared or is in hiding, or perhaps they got injured. Could, try to progress. If they resurfaced, you could say, oh, back.
Yeah, but when that person resurfaces, they have to take into account the fact that they can't just carry on their story the day they left, because it wouldn't make sense to everyone else's stories, and it wouldn't make sense to their story either.
That they would have to expect that you are not, or any way, afraid of them if you run straight into them again, because you progressed your character.
Yeah, and it's not. Let's not just use the in fear of someone. Any sort of situation, if there's two people that ended up getting close to each other, and there was a relationship there, and they were going to run off together, whatever. You couldn't expect one person just to sit on a server and run around wondering where this person is, or they disappeared. And okay, they do what you say. They disappeared. So they develop their story. But the person that's been away comes back and expects the story to continue, as if nothing's happened.
But that's what organically play out. Like, hey, I broke my leg, and I've been, been trying to mend it.
Yeah, and that's something we need to make sure everyone understands. And unfortunately, not everyone understands it as clearly as black and white as that. It's just something we have to get across to people. Mm-hmm.
Your microphone is hot micing for that reason that you have, I don't know what's in English, moderator rights. Always the others are kept lower on volume, so it's kind of hard to understand them.
Yeah. I'll usually put it on, because normally when we have community meetings, everyone's talking. There you go. And it's not just that. You got to think of the other thing is if someone fucks off and they never come back, we can't expect people to continue.
It's hard to recover your story. it's hard to recover your story because the relationships made with different characters during that time that they were actually around, whether your character hates certain people because of it or likes them. And whenever they go away, it's hard to rebuild that background.
And in case of the love story, if you do lose that person you thought was the right one and someone else comforts you and you kind of go that way instead, and then suddenly he's back, you know?
And you might have progressed onto someone else. So it's like it's either if someone's taking a break, that's fine if they let us know, because at least then we can work around that. If it's someone who's got salty and's fucked off and thrown their teddy out the pram and they don't know whether they're going to come back or not, we need to know, because we need to make a decision on that story for everyone else's benefit that is playing. Because it ain't just about one person here, it's about everybody. And this goes back to what I said last week about respecting other people's characters, storylines, etc., etc. You know, if we want the good roleplay on here, everyone's got to contribute towards that. And if it's someone that's never going to come back, whether it be for real life or it's just not what they want here, etc., we need to know that so we can make a decision on those stories.
What would be the time frame for that to decide that?
It's, you know, that's why we're having a talk about it now.
All right.
Definitely nothing less than 2 weeks. If it's a real life situation, it's real life drama. Well, it's situational. I think it's something you'd have to look on as a case by case situation, whatever the word is I'm looking for. It would have to be looked at individually. We couldn't just have a blanket rule for everyone, because I don't think that'd be fair. Because there are some people that do have real life issues. There are some people that can only play a certain amount of times, etc., etc. There are some people that get salty and don't want to play you. So we'll have to look at each one individually, I think, to make it fair. There's a bit of OOC there. I think regardless of what the situation is, whoever comes back or whoever been away for a while, and including the people who are here, they're going to have to work it back in organically. So like DT's example, if she's had some sort of love interest with someone and they disappear for a month and then DT finds someone else because she's a filthy slut.
Wow. Wow. I mean, in regards to a love story, it'd be organic to move on.
Yeah, but then it's down to... I'm only joking, by the way, DT. She didn't say anything then.
She luckily didn't hear that because she's out getting dip.
Oh, is she? Oh, there we are then. I'll repeat it when she comes back just to make sure she does. But I think just to, for it to be organic, whatever the situation is, it's going to have to be... It doesn't have to be some big, long, drawn-out thing. It could be something quite simple. But there's going to have to be some sort of organic for it to make sense. Because there's going to be other characters that have got involved with yours that all of a sudden wonder who this new person is, and if you're in a particularly paranoid group or whatever, it's going to make it awkward. And it's something that could be knocked on the head and sorted out quite quickly with something, whatever the situation is. If it's just something to think on, I'm not going to make a decision on it tonight. I'll put it up in Discord, I'll put up any ideas, and then if people have got ideas, etc. for it, because obviously we've got to give everyone else that's not here a chance to say something on it. And then in 2 weeks at the next admin meeting, we'll have a proper vote on it. But it's just something I'm conscious of because, with all the crap we had a couple of months ago, people, there were stories that people were involved in, and some people disappeared, never to come back. Some people disappeared and came back on occasionally now and again. It's not fair to people that want to play their stories because some people are stuck. And yeah, they could carry on their stories, but then if these people come back, we have to do something about that. That's to say to the people that come back, listen, your story made sense then, it doesn't make sense now. These characters have moved on, you can't expect to continue your story as if you were on the server yesterday, because that's not fair to everyone else. I think that makes more sense, doesn't it? Yes, no?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll leave it as it's time limit. Definitely nothing more less than 2 weeks. If people have got real life issues, I know some things are personal. You don't have to give us the personal reasons. Just let us know it's real life. Or if it's something you just want me to know about, which won't go any further, come and speak to me privately, and we'll deal with every single case individually. Unless it's some salty asshole that just wants to come on you and cause trouble, and then there is only one way that's going to get dealt with. And then we'll just deal with each one individually and come up with some sort of idea plan on how it's going to get back on a server. Something like that, therefore, yeah. So that's the main stuff I wanted to talk about tonight. Plans for 2 weeks' time, fingers crossed, are still in the pipeline. They're a little bit behind schedule. I'm hoping that's going to change tomorrow when I have a meeting with someone, which will be good. That'll be the bit of a mini relaunch we're going to have. May get delayed a week, but regardless, if the meeting goes poo tomorrow, I'll be looking elsewhere to get stuff done. It's definitely going to happen in the next 3 weeks, definitely, 100%. And when it does, this is the main topic for tonight. I'll post this link, for those who aren't here, I will post this link in Discord. And if you guys can have a look at this, which will be our new rule set. PvP is going. There are no PvP rules. It's all roleplay based. I'm going to speak to the website guys tonight to get the maps taken off, get the PvP rules taken off. So when that goes and that happens, that's when it'll go into effect. I got no control over that, unfortunately, and until I do get a website I got control over. That's just something that's out of my hands at the moment, unfortunately. But hopefully by the end of the weekend, it should be in place. And then in 2 weeks, if everything goes to plan, this will be our new rule set. And as someone requested, I put an explanation on most of the rules. Some are self-explanatory and don't really need explaining. But if you do need them explaining, please say, and I will put an explanation on them. I am going to go through each one. I'm not going to read them all. But if anyone's got any issues with one, just pipe up as we go through them. Number 1, self-explanatory. I've upped the age limit to 18. Anyone who's not 18 on the server at the moment, I think someone brought it up last week, has grandfather rights, and they're welcome to stay. We will look at applications. If people know good role players who are under 18 and can vouch for them, I will definitely take those into account when I look at the applications. And if you're pointing someone towards this server, get them to write in their application. You've recommended them, and I'll probably have a quick chat with you before I say yay or nay, just to get a bit of background on them. Second one, self-explanatory. Third one, self-explanatory. Fourth, fifth, sixth, 7th, 8th, 9, 10, 11, 12. And if anyone's, as I'm going through them, if anyone's got any, or if I'm going too fast, just tell me to stop. But if you've got one, just say stop. Where do we get to? 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay. Anyone got any issues with the first lot, 16? Or does anyone need more time to look at them?
I mean, I don't know if it's just because I'm drunk or not, but that was really, really fast.
Which rules have been changed, if we could know this?
We'll see as we go through them. Well, okay, we'll start again. Number 1, age limit, self-explanatory. 2, working headset and microphone. 3, disrespectful, racist, harassment, bullying, or personal attacks. I'm not going to go through that. We've had that conversation several times in community meetings. Roleplay that violates Twitch, which changes on the 19th. especially for you streamers. I was listening to a YouTube video today about it, and apparently you're going to be held responsible for how your community acts. Good luck with that. 5, logging in the server, use your first and last name. 6, use glitches and exploits, stupid or hacks. 7, landmines and tripwires, although landmines aren't in, or tripwires at the moment, or bear traps, but we'll leave that in there just in case they do come back. Grenades and flashbangs. Flashbangs at the moment are banned because they can cause damage. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. So if they're not working properly, I don't think it's fair to someone if someone lobs a flashbang at them, it breaks their legs, blah blah blah, because it's not realistic and it's not fair.
Are they allowed in a fight?
No.
Okay.
No, because it'll get abused, unfortunately.
It doesn't work the way it should at the moment.
And it doesn't work the way they should. Flashbangs are there to blind people, they don't. So is it fair if you're in a fight, or put it on the other side of the foot, if you're in a fight with me and I check a flashbang at you, you know it's a flashbang, you turn away, it doesn't blind you, but the next second you know it breaks your legs. You're fucked in you, and that's not fair to you, because that's not what it should have done.
Yeah, bone damage will kill you instantly.
Yeah.
No, just saying, to me it doesn't really make a difference if you shoot me or blow me up with a grenade, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but unfortunately we had issues with trolls on a server. They were just going up to people and throwing grenades, and DayZ being DayZ.
You gonna point something out?
Every other every other game will tell you who's thrown that grenade. DayZ doesn't. So he banned them.
Another add to that, most people wouldn't be comfortable throwing a live grenade.
Well, that's their fault if they chuck it.
No, but that's my point. You
Yeah.
as a person in real life wouldn't necessarily be
It just
comfortable
ends up
being stuck
chucking
with a
it, bounces
grenade.
off a
I wouldn't.
fence or something.
Just pull
I
the
would be
pin-
fucking terrified.
Just pull the pin
That
and throw
shit
it
can
as
go
far as
off
you
in your
can.
hand.
So yeah, that's why they're banned for. 9, not allowed to log in an active scene to assist other players. PvP situation, for example, as in like a hold up or somewhere where someone's being held hostage, or to gain advantage over any roleplay situation, whether it be good or bad. It's cheap roleplay, it's shitty, and it's not fair to the people, everyone involved. Spoils it for everybody. Poison food or leave food in barrels, etc. It's trolling. Same for booby traps. You can poison someone if it's part of roleplay, within reason. You just go around poisoning everyone on the server because you can. If it makes sense and it's a good story, I haven't got an issue with that. But poisoning food and leaving in tents is trolley. And to be honest, 8 and 9 were brought in when we were having loads of hassle with idiots on the server. Number 11, block off access with tents. Not realistic. However, garden plots ain't the most realistic, but we decided it was more like piling earth up against the wall. That's how you look at garden plots, up against the hole. Cars and barrels can be used, and this is where it comes down to people's cooperation. If there's barrels blocking a hole, just take it for granted they're filled with concrete or something. Just don't go in there, empty the shit that's in them, and then drop them out the way. Take it they're filled with concrete and they're there to block the hole off. Be realistic with it. 12, it's nice to see we haven't had this issue for a long time. We had an issue about 2 or 3 weeks ago. I think I caught the culprit an hour after he'd emptied, I think it was Silverarm's camp, and he just moved on to another one. I banned this person, and we haven't had any issues since. So that's awesome. It's just shit. 13's the limits on tents and barrels. Obviously, that'll change in the future, possibly. But again, it goes back down to what I was saying last week. Let's use going out and getting stuff. If you need to have 2 or 3 tents because you're a trader or you're a camp, etc., it makes sense. But let's not fill tents up with crap that you can go out and look for. Use an excuse to go role playing for. But the 2 main reasons are it lags the server out and affects the loot economy of the server. Vehicle limit. Max of 2 vehicles per group. This is only so it shares the vehicles around on a server. And the same reasons again, you have a load of vehicles in one area, it does cause issues sometimes. What's the word? That's what I'm looking for. Not sharing. Consideration for other people, because other people need vehicles for their stories. And let's be honest, not everyone needs 3 or 4 vehicles in a camp. Double carrying, still banned. And the reason for that is it's not realistic. It's not realistic that everyone runs around with a gun in their hand all the time. When you don't need to have it, it should be on your back. If you're sticking true to your characters, etc. You can carry that extra gun in your backpack if you want, but I mean, let's be honest, you're not going to get a chance to take it out and use it if forever the time comes. Is to get rid of the PvP mentality and to make it more realistic. Ghillies, as I've explained there, they were taken out because people weren't using them for what they're for. And if people want ghillies, I ain't got an issue with it if it makes sense and there's a reason for it. It's up to you to store that ghillie if you're not using it for the reason you want it for. But to have people just strolling around on a server or running around on a server, running into towns dressed up in full ghillie it's not realistic. You wouldn't do it in real life. The ghillie's there for a reason, that's to hide. So that's the basic ones, that's the bog standard stuff. And then the roleplay rules have changed slightly. There's not a huge amount of change in them, but I've explained them a little bit more. Metagaming, I shouldn't have to explain that. It's self-explanatory. It's just cheap. If you're the type of player that enjoys roleplay with metagaming, Prophecy ain't for you. If you're the type of player that likes to watch other people's VODs and use that information when you come in game, Prophecy ain't for you, and you will get caught out, and you will get banned. It's cheap, it's shitty for the people you're doing it against, and it's shitty for yourself, because there's nothing new there. It's nice learning about other people. Yeah, we all watch VODs of other people, and sometimes it's difficult not to have that in your mind when you're role-playing with them. But if you want proper roleplay, that's what you should be doing. Watch it to your heart's content when you're not on the server. Watch it to your heart's content, but don't use it. Because you will get caught out. You know the people that are metagaming. They stand out a mile. 2, self-explanatory. Don't check pulse of other characters. If someone's trying to hide and they're using a code name or a name to hide themselves, it's not fair if you pulse check them and you're role-playing the fact that I know it's not you because I recognise that fucking handkerchief you were wearing it last time. That's bollocks. If they're using a code name, it's for you to try and catch them out properly through roleplay, question them, catch them out on something. Just saying I recognise your voice or I recognise you have that scratch on your bag is bullshit. It's crap. It's cheap. Stream sniping. Now, this is probably our biggest complaint we deal with since I've been running this server. Some people get it, some people don't. It was brought in for 2 reasons. 1, because we were getting stream snipers on here. They were fucking people's stories up. And 2, people were getting accused of stream sniping when they weren't. Probably 60% of the people we dealt with for stream sniping have legitimately explained and shown how they've got somewhere. But we ended up having a time on the server where everyone was accusing everyone of metagaming, or it's the first thing that came into people's minds, because they've turned up here, they must be metagaming. And a lot of people weren't. So it was brought in for 2 reasons. It was to keep the innocent safe, and it was to keep the guilty unsafe. And if you're on the server and you're playing, then your concentration should be on your character. Yeah, it can get a bit boring running around on your own. I get that. Watch something else. I prefer you didn't watch anything because you should be fully immersed in your character. But I guess some people aren't into the game as much as some are.
But if you say this, that would mean in the same word that streamers can't interact with their viewers if they have to be fully immersed, doesn't it?
No. No. That's not the same. Because a lot of streamers that do stream on the server, not everybody, but a lot of them do, don't have a huge amount of interaction, or if they are, they're talking about their story. If it's people talking on third-party comms, it's either something, and this is the guilty and the innocent, it's either something about this happening on the server, or they're having a laugh and a mess around with their mates, and their head really isn't into where they should be when they're role-playing, and that comes across in the role-play as well. But the biggest thing for it just stops people getting accused of metagaming. Because I should imagine, I'm just looking through everyone in here, I'm sure nearly everyone in this room at some time or other has been accused of metagaming. You may never get to hear about it because we sorted out before we even have to speak to you. But nearly everyone in this room is being accused of metagaming because they've happened to turn up at a certain place. And some people are guilty, and some people aren't. Combat login. This goes for any active roleplay scenario. So if you're involved in something, whether it be good or bad, there's 30 minutes before you can log out. And that's just to ensure role players a chance to continue without interruption. But obviously, if you've got real life situations, you've got to log out because your mum's battering the door down, or the wife's giving you a hard time, or the husband's giving you a hard time. You need to go. Just chuck an admin a quick message in TeamSpeak to say that. So if someone does come in and complain, we can just say, real life, they've had to go. Number 5, sort of touched on already.
May I kick in just?
Mm-hmm.
There's currently a bug when you access your inventory with people around. There's a good chance that you will just crash your client. That might very well happen during combat, so it's not necessarily people logging out. It might just crash their combat because they want to reload a magazine or shit like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but they're going to come back, aren't they?
Crash. Exactly, they come right back on.
Yeah.
We're talking about people that log out and just never log back in till the next day or whatever, and it interrupts the RP.
Yeah, but if it's a crash, like 10-7, normally people log straight back in. Or most of the time, just pop in a TS and say they've crashed, or send admin a message say they've crashed.
Well, even then, at the time, most people that are interacting with you will assume that you crashed.
Mm-hmm.
So it won't even be an issue unless you don't come back in after a certain amount of time. And if it's because you're having technical difficulties because your computer or the game is being shared, which it does, then again, just contact an admin.
And let's be honest, if that happens, you stood there staring at the floor, and then your character suddenly disappears. 90% of the people that play DayZ know you've crashed. I'm talking about if something happens, I don't know, say you hold someone up, normally after you've done that, you've legged it and you've gone, and then you run behind a bush and log out. So there's no repercussions or any chance of any repercussions, etc., etc. But yeah, if you're stood there and you just crash, then people usually pick up on that. And if you're not going to come back because you've had enough, or your computer's being particularly pissy, just dive in TeamSpeak and tell an admin, and we'll let the players know that the gods have taken you. Okay, number 5. We sort of touched on it with the metagaming. There's not really a huge amount more to add with that, other than people that use third-party comms to gain advantage in roleplay is shit. And anyone who thinks it isn't shouldn't be in Prophecy. And I don't mean that horribly. I really don't mean it horribly. If it's something you want, it's something you're not going to get here. It's shit, and it's cheap, and it's not fair. Because if any of you were on the other side of that third-party comms, you would hate it. Especially if you're having good roleplay and there's something good happening, and all of a sudden someone just happens to rock up, they just happen to pop out of nowhere. It's crap. That's it for that one, really. We've touched most of it on when we talk about metagaming. Number 6, VoIP, self-explanatory, no typing in game unless you're having tech issues. We've had the conversation about the emote thing. Something we'll bring up in the future if you guys want it. You know my feelings on it. I'm not going to go on about that. I need to change the distance on this, don't I? Because there's nowhere on earth you can hear someone from 400 meters away now. What do you think is a realistic distance for this? 250?
It still can be 400. It's just it'll be very low. So it's literally the person himself will be like, I can barely hear that, and that's actual RP. You can't hear them because nowadays they see lowers the VoIP the farther you get away.
400 meters voice contact.
It's something we can't really draw a line because at the end of the day, if something happens, and there's like an active RP season or session or PvP going on, then unless you show footage, we can't really, draw a line. Hey, he stood away for about 401 meters. He wasn't allowed. No, we can't do that. It's common sense.
I get that, but Void doesn't carry too far. 400 meters might as well be a kilometer.
Yeah, no, I think 400. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll write this down now so I don't forget. We'll go on the event server and then we'll test it and see what the distance is.
I think it's still around the same, because the only thing that changed is the fact that the Void lessens the farther away.
Yeah,
Just an example, blown up factory compound from the gate to the top of the factory, we could not communicate.
Yeah, we'll test it.
It's about 150 meters, I believe.
Okay. Well, I'll test it on the server and then I'll update that and update you guys.
Did you say from the bottom of the compound to the top of the compound?
From the gate to the
From
roof.
the gate, close gate to the top of the compound is barely impossible.
No, you can't do that.
Yeah, in the old days you used to be able to, you can now. We need to change that one. Let me mark that up so I don't forget. Put that in.
Yeah, they're going to play Marco Polo on the event server.
For fuck's sake.
VoIP is different in the vehicle too. I can barely hear anyone when they're inside a vehicle at all.
I recommend using
Mel
Island. It's a
well,
good
you
spot.
have to remember
Flat
with
land
vehicles, there's actually 2 separate VoIPs, and when you go into a vehicle, you automatically switch to vehicle VoIP, and you're talking outside vehicle, just like radios. You can swap it into an outside vehicle VoIP.
No, you're not automatically in. I could switch to vehicle when I was in a vehicle.
That's for chat. When you there's like the VoIP, and then there's the chat too. It's confusing.
I was switching because I was on the radio too.
We'll test that out. We'll do all the tests of VoIPs on the event server, vehicles, radios, blah blah blah. And when we got the distances, I'll put all the distance up for it. Because realistically, you shouldn't be able to hear people talking in the car, because you wouldn't in real life unless they had the window open. You're right next to them. If they're driving past you shouldn't be able to hear them.
Well, most windows were broken already. God, those cars are.
What am I going to say, Luna?
I think you also have to remember it depends on the voice of the characters too. Because I know on some of my characters' voices they're really hard to hear, and you have to be pretty much staying in front of them. It depends on the quality of your microphone and stuff like that. So I think really putting an overall hammer on it is going to be difficult to do.
Yeah, but to be honest, we're getting away from why the rule's there. The rule's there because, again, in the past, we had people scoping an instant that was happening a kilometre away and getting involved and having no idea what's happening. And what you got to remember is some people mess around in their groups and point guns at each other, and there's nothing bad going on. And all of a sudden, you've got a group of either heroes or bandits coming in to do something about it, and it's got absolutely fuck all to do with what they think it is. So you need to know what's going on before you can get involved in an RP scene. PvP, so I really want that word in there. I'm going to change that for something else. Hostile. I think I'll change that too.
Or combat.
Yeah, hostile or combat. Right. As you wanted, zombies, because they are still a bit glitchy at the moment. Still pretty much the same as before, like we spoke about 2 weeks ago. It's your responsibility to look after your character. No one should be dying of starvation or dehydration. There's no excuse for that. Wolves, you know where they are. It's your choice to go where they are. Cold or heat exhaustion. I'm going to take that out. Because, as far as I know, it's still glitchy. Cold and heat. Although I don't think we...
No, it's not.
Every time I've
Steady.
played, I've got wet and able to warm up straight away. It should be
A
fine.
prime example of it being glitchy is when DT got put on the leather jacket and immediately went to hypothermic for absolutely no reason.
That was fun.
We'll take it out.
hyperthermic.
We'll take it out.
It's not the heat and the cold. I hate to tell you, it's the leather jackets.
Yeah, sometime when you change clothing, it'll glitch out.
Yeah, if it's a glitch, we'll take it out until we know it's not improper.
Saying that you should still not just go around in the rain without a rain jacket because
no,
make it cold. And
oh yeah, let me put that in there. Add in.
So we have to check clothing now as well to make sure it doesn't have
It just has to be within a reason.
Yeah. If you get yourself deliberately wet and you die of hypothermia naturally, then tough. And I'll write that up properly. But if you have a glitch, it's not going to be a perma, because that's not fair.
Well, I might want to bring an unpopular opinion in it. I don't think it's glitched enough for us to take it out. Because so far I've had almost 0 reports of people coming in saying that they got glitch died by hypo. 9 out of 10 times was actually legit.
It used to be a lot bigger problem than it is now. I haven't
When
noticed it much of a problem
Cosmo
anymore.
rather hyper
Last
or
patch,
hyper constantly.
Right, okay. I'm going to put this in.
I was about to say, if it's a glitch and you are able to show us like, hey, it's a glitch, then yes, I agree, you won't perma. But right now, cold hypothermic is actually really, really viable and it actually works. There's barely any glitches to it. It wasn't like before when you were surrounded by 2 or 3 fires and you were still hypothermic, even though you stood next to them for like fucking hours, you know? It actually works now.
Well, we'll do that. If it's a glitch, you don't have to perma from it. But if you let yourself get wet and then you get cold and blah blah blah, well, you're not looking after your character. There's no reason to die for stuff like that. Same as starvation and dehydration. It don't take 2 minutes to dry yourself out or get warm. So in addition to that, zombie deaths are out. However, if you get mauled by a zombie and then you decide to carry on running when you know you've got bone damage, or you're hungry, then you're on red thirsty, red hunger, and then you decide to carry on running around and then you get killed or then you drop dead, that's your fault and your character will perma. It takes 20 minutes max to get yourself back up to fully energized and fully healthy. So if you get twatted, just have a chill, role play it, sit down for 10 minutes, eat, drink, get back to green healthy, and you're good to go. But if you decide to run off after you've just been twatted by a couple of zombies and not look after your character, that will count as a perma. And I'll write up the... I don't need to put that in now, because we're not doing that. Number 9, self-explanatory, stay in character all times. 10, throwaway characters. We were getting people coming on the server that were just making characters they just didn't give a fuck about. And if they don't give a fuck about their character, they don't give a fuck about your character. And we were getting, and still get occasionally, not so much the last couple of months, people just making characters because they haven't played for a while, so I'm going to make a bandit. And they just go around and fuck everyone else over. I don't have an issue with people making a character that is going to be a quick character, as long as it's got a reason and a story for what it's doing. But what I don't want is just a character that's just don't give a fuck about whether it lives or dies. That's not fair to everyone else, and that's happened. So that's why the throwaway was in there, because it's shit. Number 12, self-explanatory. 13, we'll keep this one in place. I think Communist just mentioned something about this. Maybe we could add the people not being here into that. I'll think on that one. But the benching of characters, that's still in place. 14 staying in place because I think it makes sense. And to challenge yourselves. I'd love to see people challenge themselves and play characters they're really uncomfortable with. And if it works, it's awesome. If it doesn't, then everyone here can help. And this one, number 15, is going to start getting enforced. Not so much now, because the numbers are low, and obviously that's difficult to fucking enforce it with the numbers at the moment. But what I don't want is the same people over and over and over and over again. Once or twice is understandable. But every time you do a character, no. And it's all for the reasons we said last week for. 1, you get to meet new people in real life. 2, the roleplay is like starting over again. It's brand spanking new. You don't know what that person's going to do. You don't know what they're going to say. You don't know how they're going to act. And it's different. It's new. And that's good. So that's staying, and it will start getting enforced. Number 16, self-explanatory. Does anyone need that one explained? About game mechanics being written into your backstory, as in like cannibalism, etc. Although what has been nice is I haven't seen any cannibals on the server for a while. Just nice.
Don't tempt them, Sam.
Don't
tempt the curse of Deb.
I'll change that.
What I will say is,
I'll change that after Ava dies.
What I'll say
Cannibalism
is,
is boring.
it's nice because people are being original. You know, it's like I said last week. Let's forget DayZ as the game. Let's just treat DayZ as a film set. And it's nice to see we're not getting generic, and I'm not even getting applications with cannibalism. I'm still getting lots of ones. Even a fucking long speech I wrote on the application form. I'm still getting fucking applications with he's an ex-military, or he's military, or he's this, or he's that.
I fell out of a helicopter.
My plane crashed into the side of a hotel.
I like that person, whoever. Someone's doing that in game right now, but they're doing it really well. And I don't know who it is, but they're doing the helicopter thing, but they're doing it well.
And I don't mind that. If it's well, and it's someone who knows what they're talking about, and it's someone who speaks the lingo, etc., then great. But when it's just someone who comes on here because they want to run around in full green or full black with every single fucking piece of military gear they can find, then no. They're not here for roleplay, they're here for PvP roleplay, and we don't want that. Permadeath, self-explanatory. 19, self-explanatory. Respawn, value of life. This is all down to respecting each other. We went into that last week. I won't bore you all with it again tonight. And initiation. I'm thinking of taking out the accident bit, because there are some people, bless them, who are new to the game or don't play the game very often and still get confused with the keys, who sometimes raise their gun by mistake. Now, the majority of you guys are mature enough and sensible enough to recognise that and just have a laugh or a joke about it. However, there are some that don't and use any excuse to kill someone, which fortunately is very few and far between. And
There is still the problem of clicking back in the game as well. You have a gun.
It's just RP.
If you open your, and also if you open your Steam overlay, that stops it all the time.
Why would you be opening your Steam overlay?
Well, if you open your Steam overlay when you tab out of the game, you don't shoot people accidentally. That's why. Yeah. Unless you want to kill people every day.
If you hit escape, be unable to.
If you're going to be
tapping
out your games, then just make sure you're facing away from people.
Well, that too.
There's an easy fix. If whether you're tabbing into your inventory or hitting escape, click twice back in the game before you tab out of your inventory or hit the escape button again. Then it'll just aim your gun. It won't shoot
Can I
it.
also make another suggestion as well? And this goes back to what I was saying about double carrying. Look where you are and who you're with and what you're doing, and do you really need to have a gun in your hand? Because people are still running around with guns in their hands when you don't really need to be. You know, let's get that mentality out that you have to run everywhere with your gun out. Put it on your back. Make it look more natural. Get your guns out when you need to get your guns out. If you're all stood in a camp together and you're all talking, and you're all in a bunch of friends and safe, do you need to be carrying your guns around? No. Because you wouldn't do that in real life. You wouldn't all sit around the campfire fucking roasting marshmallows with an AK-47 in your hand and an M4 in the other hand. Unless you're toasting your marshmallows
Perfect
at the end
as
of
a
the barrel.
stick.
I beat you to it, DT.
If it was possible to put marshmallows on the end of the, what do you call it, like the knife on the end of the gun, I would do it.
What are you even talking about, Mitch? You don't even play the game.
You don't even play the game, Mitch. Shut up. But
An
we're
add-on to
keeping...
that?
Yeah, go on.
If you are double carrying because you are transporting a gun, empty the gun. You don't have to put it on the ground or anything. Just empty it out. You can.
But what is nice is, you know, majority of this is not happening. Most of you guys are doing it properly, which is nice to see. You know, the time I do get to see on people's streams, etc., it's nice to see that people are sticking to, you know, the background rules just to make things a bit more realistic, etc. But going back onto these, I'm going to keep scoping into camps or onto other players. That'll be considered initiation. You shouldn't be doing it. Use binoculars or remove the scope from the gun if you're scouting. And that's going to be the new rule set, guys. There's going to be no PvP, so there's no PvP rules. Military rules will appear as and when they need to. I'll put this up in Discord so everyone gets a chance to comment on it. I will probably leave it for... I'll leave it for a week. We'll have a quick community meeting next week, so there won't be a huge... Well, there might be a bit of an update, depending on how much work we get done this week. We'll have another community next week, and then we'll put these rules up. Well, I'd like to do it by Monday. That's not enough time for everybody, is it? Next Friday. I just think it makes sense then to take all the other stuff off at the same time. Right, the zombie rule will be in effect. As soon as it's up on the website, I'll change that one rule. So, death by zombies from tonight for everybody ain't perma. If I can get the website guys to change that, then it'll be on the website, but just take it for free now and I'll stick it up in Discord. That rule's in force now. The PvP areas, wait for me to give that on Discord to say they're gone. Because I just need to get the website guys to make sure they remove it off the website first, so people aren't confused. If anyone does die to PvP when it's up, or you die in the PvP areas, depending on who it is, I'll wait for it to go up on the website, so it's just going to get too confusing.
How long did you want to wait? Because, for example, I can change all the rules on Discord to these
No,
ones.
I'm not having two sets of rules, one on the website and one on Discord.
Okay.
Will be done at the same time. I'm hoping they'll get it done tomorrow. I sent it to them 3 days ago. But as soon as it's up, we'll let you know in Discord with an announcement to say new rules are in. But take it from me tonight. Although it's not up in Discord, although it's not up on the website, the zombie rules in force now. Wait on the PvP until it's up on the website. So if anyone's got any ideas, anyone's not happy with the rule, anyone wants something added or wants to talk about possibly taking something away, stick it up in the ideas tab, stick it up in the Ask Sam tab, or if you don't want people to know you're saying it, drop me a message. You can do it on Twitter and you can do it on Discord. Which brings me, so has anyone got any questions on that before I go on to the last bit?
It's been a while, but Bone Man and Priest still had something to say.
Who's first?
Bone Man.
Bone Man.
Go on, Bone.
I just want to ask again about the weapons in hands. You're saying it's kind of situational. I mean,
what I'm saying is, at the moment, people are walking around with guns in their hands all the time, even when they're in a camp full of friendly people that they've got no fucking worries to be worrying about. If you're someone stood on guard, that's different. But if you're all walking around in the camp together, or you're walking down a road and there's no one anywhere near you, it just looks a bit naff sometimes. But it's situational. You know, if you're going through an area where you're expecting hostility or you're worried there's going to be hostility, of course it makes sense. It would make sense for you to go into towns with them out. But just to continually do it non-stop, let's try and get looking into our characters best we can. I really would love to be able to mind wipe you all, including myself, of the DayZ mentality and just say, here's a game where we found it's a film set, and you're all actors at the end of the day. That's what you're here for. Although it's roleplay and you're doing it on the end of a mic, you're all actors. And I just really want people to put everything as much as they can into the acting and make it as realistic as possible. Of course you are, DT. Because it's, and the other side of the coin is, if you're rocking up on someone with all your guns out, say there's 2 or 3 of you, or 2 of you, and you've both got your guns out, and you're running towards someone, and they're running towards you, and you've already got your guns out, all of you, straight away, are pushed in a certain direction, unconsciously or consciously, of what's going on here. And all of you could be the nicest people under the sun, with no ill intentions towards anybody, but you're all on edge straight away. Whether that be unconsciously or consciously. And like I said the other day, if there's a group of you and you're rocking up on 2 or 3 people, do you all need to have your guns out? No. If you're a friendly group, would you all run up on someone with the guns out? No. That's not the way you'd make friends.
Isn't this still the apocalypse?
Yeah. Is everything bad in the apocalypse?
You should assume so, I guess.
No. No. That's what I'm saying about people not sticking true to their characters. You know, you've got people that are... what's the word? Fucking hell. What's the word I'm looking for? Passive.
Pacifist?
Passive characters. Not pacifists, but passive characters. who would not run around with guns out. Because, one, they wouldn't be used to it. Two, they'd feel uncomfortable doing it, blah, blah, blah. All the other pink and fluffy side of it. Military characters, slightly different maybe. But still, they wouldn't run around all day. They'd have stuff next to them, which would be on your back or on the floor next to you. But you don't run around with it in your hands all the time. It's just little things like that. I'm not saying you have to do it. It's just, look at the situations you're in and try and make it as realistic as possible and think, these people I'm rocking up on now, because I don't when I play on my characters, it puts people at ease when you go up and speak to them, because they've got no reason to have a gun on you then. If you've got a gun out, they feel need to get a gun out, rightly so, because they feel unsafe, as you would if you saw people coming towards you with guns out. Straight away it gives that impression there's no ill intention here. And if there's going to be an intention, then be clever about it. It's stuff like that. It's just thinking a little bit more outside the box, being a bit more realistic, putting a bit more into it, making it a bit more than just, I don't know, the crappy scenario bandits, 2 people running up on 1 person, fucking dancing around them with their guns out. And we've all been in that situation where you just think in your head, okay, just get it over with. You know what you're going to do. Be clever. I'd love to have a really clever bad character on here, where people don't straight away think, well, he's going to hold me up. Start with the line, do me a favour. You know what's coming when someone says, do me a favour.
I hate that line. So many bad memories.
Yeah, do me a favour. Yeah.
I'll show you a trick.
Will the next line be, put your hands up? But anyway, it's not enforcing stuff like that. It's just trying to get people to think a bit more into the role play, make it a bit more. What's the word I'm looking for? Immersive, I suppose. Who's next? Bone. Sorry, Bone. Did I answer it? Probably not.
Yeah, you're good.
All right, cheers, buddy. Who's next?
Priest.
One Priest.
All right. As for the barrels blocking ways in compounds and our bases, a little known fact in DayZ is that you can take the pickaxe and actually mine large rocks from bigger boulders that you find static throughout the world.
Can you?
Yes.
Yep.
You can.
God,
So you can literally fill barrels up with
That's
big
how you
rocks.
make
The furnace.
campfire.
Yeah.
I like how you're thinking, Priest, if I think what you're going to say next.
If they want to make a barricade out of a barrel, I say they should have to fill their barrel up with those rocks.
I like it.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. In fact, I like it so much, I'm going to put that in the rules.
Because then it does actually show that is
There's a barricade.
Yeah.
I like it.
Now the question is, and this is just for me, will we be adding that to the 10th rule, barrel rule? Are you limited? For example, I have 2 large tents and I have 3 barrels blocking the barricade. Am I not allowed to have anything else then?
No, because they're a barricade.
Alright, well, that's just making sure, or asking that.
So it's completely separate from the barrel.
If we
already
say half fill the barrel with rocks, then players that see that.
Or you could do at least 10 rocks, because I think you get 4 from each, so you could do 12. So you have to go mine 3 rocks, or...
No, they're not like little stones that you can find on the beach. They're larger
Yeah,
rocks.
the big rocks, I know, but you get like 4 from them when you mine them, I believe.
Can you carry them?
Yes.
Yes.
I've never seen that. Never ever seen it. And I played this game since it fucking came out. When I didn't even know you could do it.
You know how
we still learn.
You can even
You can make stone
smash
ovens.
the bigger rocks into smaller ones.
Yep.
I think
Then it can sharpen
isn't
knives with
that
them.
how you make the one with the stones around it now? The fire
Yeah,
blade?
the
Yes.
stone
okay.
fires.
The fire ring is with little rocks. The oven that you make, you use the larger rocks. However, I've
Nope.
found that it's not static, sadly.
No, the fireplace with yeah,
Yeah.
like Communist wrote, it's 4 rocks for the fireplace with stones.
Oh,
For
okay.
the stone
8
oven, it's
for-
8.
So even Communist knows, Sam, come on.
Well, Communist knows because he's been learning.
I like
Like a
that.
fire in a barrel.
I like that. Where's the tents? Where is it?
You learn something new every day in DayZ.
Oh yeah.
Priest is talking
Only
himself
Sam.
into doing a section on Discord of all the things you can do in DayZ.
We'll help join in that.
No, 'cause
Another thing
all
I'd
you'd put in
like
there
to
is
ask.
fucking
How
is
to find
sort
stuff.
tents out. Well, no, you don't have to find stuff. It's easy for you to find stuff. You just go look in the fucking tents of all your shit that's filled
True.
in it.
How to sort a tent.
Did I
You
tell
list,
about the books and that you can find all the books on the DayZ wiki now, and you can actually find links to read them for free?
Or you can just Google search the names like I do.
Anyway, go on, Priest. What were you going to say? Sorry, buddy.
Currently, notes are bugged. You can't really write them. For people who are in groups and due to real life stuff or time constraints are unable to get on at the same time, would we be able to leave a note to them through a third party system? I know that would be the whole that might fall under metagaming, but if it's specifically like, hey, I've met this person, like you write it in character, not just this.
For that.
No, what we'll do is, for both reasons, the good and the bad, unfortunately, because we have to think of both in bags. I always sit in the middle. Not that I don't trust you guys, but there will people that take the piss. If I said to you, yeah, crack on, you can do that between yourselves, because there will be people that take the piss. So, how about we do, if you want to leave a note for someone, you give the note to an admin, and the admin passes it on to the player through Discord.
Might I add something? Aren't you punishing the people who are honest, and the people who want to do it will do it anyways?
Possibly.
If I want to metagame, I will metagame and don't give a shit about that. And if people actually...
Yeah, but you'll stand out a mile if you do it. It may take us a day or two to catch you, but we'll catch you.
But you get what I mean. You're punishing all the people who are honest about that and do want to roleplay, just by the standards of some people who really don't give a crap about that.
But how is it a punish? Just because you're passing it to an admin that will pass it straight through the person. Every single one of us, hopefully, is in the Discord. Or at least.
Why not log off the server?
That pretty much says that you're not trusted if you have to do it like that.
Why not log off the server to put
It's not a matter about trusting you, it's a matter about trusting everyone else.
It's us, and basically what we're trying to do is we're trying to make a way to get it
rid
not being
of the
abused. And
get rid of the shit.
Well, that as well. Yeah. And secondly, we want it to be just in-game thing. If we had the note system working, we wouldn't even be discussing this. But as soon as this gets brought to a point where we have to do something out of game, we are kind of a bit about it, because we always wanted everything to be in-game. So we're now trying to find a way that it can't be abused. Same, for example, with the sniper rule we want to bring eventually. We need to find ways where it can't be abused. Is it punishing towards players that are doing legit? Probably. Could we 100% trust everyone? Not really. So it's, fair to the players that don't want to be punished for this, that we make sure that the people that don't abuse it aren't here. And that's why we're doing this way.
Bring up a point.
Yeah, come on.
What if you did a Discord thread, so it would just be the post of the note itself? No one would know
because everyone will see it.
But listen, in order to check that you're meant to read this note, you'd have to name the exact location in which this note was left, and if you couldn't name that, because realistically, if someone's leaving you a note, you should be able to name where it's left in order to find it.
What about screenshotting the note? Because you can see what you're writing in game, screenshot it, and then log off or whatever, and then put it in the Discord, the screenshot in the Discord, or send it to that person. I don't know, but that would be an interesting way of doing that.
Well, the thing is, and you have to look at it this way too. Say, for example, I leave a note for Luna. I want only Luna to see that note, but yet Mitch, Sticky, Poncho, Priest, all of them see the note as well in Discord, because that's where it's posted at. Sure, they're all great guys. Let's say Priest decides he wants to use it in game, and I'm just picking random names here. I know you probably wouldn't, but
use my
say he decides he wants to use it
name
in
as an
game.
example.
Okay, so Sam wants to use it. There we go. Then there's not really much to do about it, because everybody's seen it.
True.
But then that's why you would have the thing where if they couldn't name exactly where it is, it'd be considered a metagame.
It's
that's the thing, though.
Go on.
It's not that hard if most people could probably guess where you're going to leave a note.
There's two sides to it again in there, because at the end of the day, people could find the note in game as well. Yes, it's more open on Discord and more open to abuse on Discord, and I just want to clear up with Shepard as well. It's not about accusing innocent people. Shep, at all.
No, I get that. This is not an accusation of anything. It's just
no. It's just, but I want to clear it up. It's 99.9% of the people in this room are honest players. Unfortunately, we still have some people in this community that want to metagame, that do stream snipe, they want to get one over on people, which is shit. And if I've got a rule there to say this, that, or the other, I won't ban people. All of you that have spoken to me when you joined this have all had the fucking 4-hour glass eye sleep talk from me. About I won't ban people unless I've got evidence. And I do that for a reason. Because if people go away from here and they try bad-mouthing us or say we're just a bunch of assholes that don't look after people, etc., I've got the evidence there to say different. So, you know, for 99.9% of you, half these rules don't matter, don't count, because you all stick to them. But unfortunately, as we all know, it's the internet. Not everyone can be trusted. I can tell you now, if there's any in this room that I thought was doing something bad, we'd have had a conversation by now. There are some people I've had conversations with here, and they've learned from it, and that's great. Unfortunately, we've had people in this community recently that fucked us over. This is the whole reason for the bit of the mini relaunch. It was the whole reason for the chat we had last week about where I want to go with this, what I want you guys to have, and I know that the majority of you want. I do get frustrated, and I do get a little disappointed when people throw their teddies out the pram. Because I don't need to do this. The admins don't need to do this, and you guys don't need to be here. None of us need to do this. I don't have to do an 8, 10, 15-hour day, then come back here and have to deal with shit. Or people throwing their teddy out of pram because it hasn't gone their own way and they don't give a fuck about anyone else. Or they don't understand why a certain scenario has been dealt with in a certain way. It's all about trying to make something good here, make something awesome. So it's awesome for you guys. You know, it's not for me. I don't get anything out of writing all these rules. It's fucking boring. Did I really want to sit here and write out all the explanations for the rules? Did I? Fuck. Do I need to sit here and start rewriting all the law because I lost it all off my computer? Yeah, I do, because I enjoy that, and that's what this is all about. But I don't need to do that. Do I have to have these community meetings? You know, I finish work an hour before this community meeting. I'm fucked. I'd have rather gone to bed, but it's important. And it frustrates, you know, you're all here, and that's awesome. Because you all obviously give a fuck, and you all obviously want this to work, and that's awesome. And I just wish people would, perhaps I don't explain it properly, perhaps it's just the way of the world. You know, I don't want this to sound wrong, and I know it's going to sound wrong. I provide this for you guys to do this, and I'm not singling you, this is general now, there's no one in here, or anyone that listens to this afterwards pointing fingers at people. I provide this for you. I don't get paid for it. I don't get fuck all out of it, other than it's awesome when I hear someone come in and say, fucking DT helped Mitch out the other day and blah blah blah. I love that. Fucking that makes my day every fucking day. Or when there's awesome roleplay on the server, makes my fucking day. What doesn't make my day is when I come in and, oh, fucking admins did this and did that and they fucking made this decision and this shit. But they've explained it to him why they've done that. And instead of saying this is shit, they think, well, I'm not really happy with it, but I get why. It's to make things better. It's to make things fair. It's to improve the roleplay on you. Nothing we do on here, if you're going to be a wanker on a server, you'll get treated like when you get banned. And I don't think any one of you would disagree with that. But if it's something that could be improved, or DT fucks up and kills Fluff and makes a mistake, and Fluff does something to Howardin and Luke and Luna, instead of those 4 people getting all pissy, I shouldn't have said your names because you think I'm talking about you now. I'm not. I'm just picking your names out. They shouldn't get pissy with each other. They shouldn't go into Discord and make a drama, or go into another channel somewhere else, or some other fucking arena, and get pissy about it. Because at the end of the day, it's just a fucking game. And it certainly ain't worth falling out in real life over. Now, if we want this to be something different and something better, and, you know, you log off with, like I said last week, that feeling of, that was fucking awesome, or fuck me, I'm glad I got away with that, or I can't wait to fucking log on. That's what we're all here for. is to tell that great story. And if that means sometimes you've got to take a bite out of a shit sandwich, then you've got to take a bite out of a shit sandwich. Because I'm going to start throwing it back out to the community. I want you guys to have the same feeling that, and I know some of you do, but I know not everyone does. But I know not everyone is going to get it. But I want you guys to feel like this is yours as well. And it's important. It's not just somewhere to come and play DayZ. And I get that some people want to do that. And I'm not going to punish them for that at all. Of course I'm not. But there's a lot of you in this community. People in this team speak now and people not in this team speak now. They're, you know, Prophecy's everything for them. They've met some great people here, etc., etc. But vanish or get pissy when things don't go their way. Now, those type of people are few and far between now, which is great. But I don't want people, you know, if there's a situation that happens on a server and it doesn't go the way you want it to go, don't get pissy. Don't take it personal. Don't think it's a bad thing. If it's been dealt with wrongly and you're not happy about it, then come and speak to me. And I've said that since the word go. And if it has been dealt with wrongly, then we'll fix it. But it needs people to understand why we do that. And the reason we're doing that is because we wanted to make it better. We want to improve it all. So if there is a particularly not even a shitty situation, if something happens and it's not right, then let's fix it. And let's all go away with a feeling of, okay, I'm not particularly happy about it, but yeah, I do understand it. Because one day, the ball will be on the other foot. And where you've had something that's not particularly great, or it could have been done better, you'd want the same service. Unfortunately, there are still some people, few and far between in this community, that just give a fuck about their story and fuck everyone else. And they won't be here for long. And when those people start disappearing, other people will come here with the same mentality as you guys. They want good role play and know they're in an environment where they'll get good role play. I'm not stopping anyone for the type of role play they want to do. If you want to be a bandit, great. Be a fucking good bandit. Be an awesome bandit. Be a bandit that people talk about in a good way. If you want to be a hero, be a fucking hero in a great way. Tell a great fucking epic story that people care about. You know, every single one of you should care, really care whether your character lives or dies. You know, I can't remember what someone said the other day. It's not about killing each other, it's about surviving or something like that. That's what it should be about. Whether you're a good bad character, whatever character you're playing, in the back of your mind, you should be surviving. And you should be doing that even if you're a bad character. If I go and take these people on, there's a chance I could die here. Now, are you really caring about your character and your story in-game now? If you rock up on 4 or 5 people with 4 or 5 of your people and start getting guns out and blah-de-blah. No, you wouldn't. You would plan it. You'd do it properly. You'd single these people out. You'd make a story of it. You'd lie. You'd cheat. You'd deceive. And it's so much more interesting. It's so much more interesting to watch. It's so much more interesting for you as a role player, and it's so much more interesting for the people you're doing it against. And one day, and ain't gonna happen overnight, and I had this conversation with Sven the other day, all of us are gonna have to take a bite of a shit sandwich one day, because they won't like something that's happened. Just try and understand why it is. I've always wanted this to be different. I've always wanted the admin team to be different. I've always wanted the community to be different. I've always wanted the roleplay to be different, and I've always wanted it to have a meaning. Because we can all go elsewhere for bog standard roleplay. We want to all run around in a big gang and hold people up, left, right, and centre. You guys can put a little thing up there to say, remember DT's character. And there's a little, you know, like a memorial, and people actually care about that character. Like we used to. In the first 6-7 months of this server, 8 months of this server, you had people talking 2, 3, 4 months after a character had died, how much they missed that character, how much they wish they could play him again, and blah, 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 blah. And some of you still are in that mentality, but some of you aren't. I'd like everyone to be on that mentality, that you really give a fuck. No, we're not getting off point, Dark. This is important. It's really important. Because that's what this is all about. And if it doesn't change, then this doesn't exist. It's a really important point. It really is.
I get that. I was just saying that we're trying to figure out if we want to do that note system thing. I do agree, like, it is a good point to bring up. It's just what we do with the note
system. It is a good point, because there are people in this community recently that don't get it. And it's holding other people up. And people need to realise that I'm really serious about this. And I want it to work. And I know a lot of you guys out there are serious about it as well. And for those of you who aren't, please find somewhere where you will be happy. Don't make me get rid of you. Because it'd be a shame. Anyway, sorry. Just something I remembered. I wanted to make that point clear. Notes. I think if you put up in Discord, unfortunately, it will get abused. I think the safest way to make sure you guys are happy that it's going to the right people is if it's given to admins to pass on. Because then at least you know no one else will see it, other than the person you want to see it. I think that would be the best way. Because you know what'll happen. If we put in Discord and someone happens to turn up in an area where you've left a note and they happen to turn up there perfectly legally, they're going to get accused of metagaming and reading a note, and drama is going to get caused. So, yes, we will have notes.
Yeah, a lot of people aren't going to be satisfied. Oh, I'm sorry, Sam. It's just if notes were working in game, I wouldn't have asked. I wouldn't have suggested this.
No, I get that, mate. I'd love for notes to work because it adds so much more to the game as well. But unfortunately, dude, it goes back down to some people will use it and some people will accuse people of shit if we just put it up in Discord. I don't know what you guys want to do.
I think if we're gonna do like no passing to admins, I think it should be voted on.
Well, what's the options? We got pass into admins or it goes in Discord. I think that's the only real options we got in there. Unless anyone can suggest something different.
All I gotta say is you gotta see the repercussions.
What, you mean role plays?
Leaving the writing shit out and just saying, oh, I won't be there tomorrow. I left a note where it states I'm gone fishing or whatever. That's also an option.
I get what you're saying, but I get what Priest is saying as well. Because we did used to leave notes, didn't we? And it was nice to leave notes. It'd be nice to have somewhere where, because some people used to leave general notes out, wouldn't it? Whether you be good characters, bad characters, just to add a bit of deception or whatever.
Yeah.
Or leave your calling card.
Yeah.
I robbed your shit.
I robbed your shit.
What about Com's idea? Thinking about stuff like that. Someone robs something from someone's tent. If they take a screenshot of the tent and then put a note underneath it so you know it's your tent. I don't know.
Well, the tent's going to be difficult.
But wouldn't that give away the position of the tent?
You're asking people to remember what shit they actually have in their tent here.
Oh, Sab.
I bet Sab could fucking tell you exactly what's in his tent.
Oh, I would, but you
and
guys
the
wouldn't.
order it's in.
We'll be here forever.
I mean,
I think you can name half the shit we have in our tent now.
Darkness only has fish in his
Is there any other options? It's either post up in Discord or pass to admins. Can anyone think of another option?
I mean, if you post it in Discord, I would say label only the people that should be able to read it, and then whoever reads it can put red underneath it or put a mark on it, and once it's read, the person that posted can just remove it.
That's a lot of work, though.
That's a lot of work, and everyone's going to read it anyway, so that's not.
True, not everyone,
to
but
save the whole metagaming accusation, perhaps it would be best to have one of the admins be the middleman between it. It'd be just an extra thing for the admins to do, though. I don't want to put more work on you guys.
Also,
one thing. If we do the admin thing, then we're basing it off a system where no one could ever find the note anyway.
Exactly.
Right? But if that was...
Because
that's why the other thing is the question. If we put in Discord, who's to say someone don't walk by the barrel?
Well,
but if the concept is that no one else can even like have the option to read the note, which is what we want, then no one should ever be able to find out the content of the note anyways.
This would be a system of completely 100% private messaging, which
absolutely, I'd love that more. I'm just pointing out in regards to the question.
I think it's unrealistic because people, there is a chance that people would walk up on it and snoop and read the note.
I think
good
if you take a screenshot of the
don't
inventory,
you think I could stuff it down like Raven's pants?
What if you take the screenshot of the inventory like Communist said? So if someone stumbles upon it and they find a piece of paper in it that someone left a note there, and they see that and they check the Discord later on, like, oh, I found this tent. That means I can read the note that's in it. What about that?
Well, tents content are going to change day by day.
Yeah.
Very true.
My damn tents.
What sort of things? Give me examples of what you want to leave the notes for.
For me, I ran into a fellow the other day who happened to make a little home near my home, and I play with a friend of mine. Our characters, we share a camp, and I would have put down. I don't like to write things straightforward, especially with James, but I would probably put new neighbor south. Something like that.
Okay, so if it's something for like that, what if we do like a notice board on Discord? Because you're not really giving anything away there, are you?
Even if you think about it, streaming is allowed. You can take a huge amount of information from streams. You're not allowed to use that anyway. So what's the difference from reading a note on a Discord? There is no difference, really.
There's not, is there?
I mean, it's an issue. Like, I get off super late from work during the week now, so I'm getting on just as everyone's getting off. It'd be nice to know whether, if someone is still in the server, whether it's possible to find them where they went. People that my character knows, because they're scattered all over the place, and I know where to find them. But if they're not there, it'd just be nice to know where I could possibly end up finding them.
It would make sense because we in game know that Skunk wakes up late, for example.
Yeah.
Realistically speaking, if you're in some sort of group, you're not vanishing when you're logging off, are you? One would assume that if 3 people from 4 people go away, that they're not sneaking away, ignoring the one guy that happened to be not on the server, and it's not too much of metagaming in that position, is it? It's just, if you're looking from a realistic standpoint, you're not vanishing. You're still there doing mediocre and menial shit like sleeping, eating, washing yourself, whatever.
Yeah, but then we're back to the whole...
I'm thinking out loud here. What about a mixture of both? What if we do a notice board on Discord for general notes? So something that doesn't really matter if everyone sees. So, for the person who wants to leave a calling card, or I'm setting up a trading post in so-and-so. And then the private notes will go through admins.
Right.
There's not going to be a huge there's not going to be a huge amount of private notes, is there? I wouldn't have thought.
And with that, you could discuss in game, like, this is where we can hide things, and it'd be like in this log pile underneath this log here. Not many people are going to walk by that log pile and just toss all the logs around looking for notes,
Yeah, because, like Sven said, if you're... Not Sven, sorry, Shepard said, if you're a group, and like you're saying now, if we implement this, then, because there isn't notes sort of out of character, but you guys can say, I don't know, the third tree on the left, Well, no one's going to have a fucking clue in Discord where that third tree on the left is, but your group will.
Mm-hmm.
So you can say there's...
You can also easily turn this around. What is the worst scenario you can come up with harm coming from this?
Loads,
what harm could possibly come? You should possibly not write down crucial information that depends life and death on a stupid note and letting it fly somewhere around.
No,
Maybe
but private notes, that's different. And that. Okay, let's do... What do you guys think of that then? Should we do a notice board on Discord, and then private notes will go through admins?
Yes.
Sure.
Okay, can you do a straw poll for that as well then? And we'll keep
I just feel like, I don't know, like a notice board is full-on metagaming to me.
Well, not really, because if it's someone setting up trading in, we'll see how it goes. If it starts getting a bit abused and it's, you know, there's stuff on there that doesn't make sense, then, you know, we'll discuss it and we'll talk about it, and people won't get pissy if their notes get taken down, and people won't get upset. They'll get spoken to and it'll be explained, and hopefully they'll understand, blah, blah, blah. Let's use our common sense. So, you know, take what Shep just said, as in, you ain't going to put down there at 4 o'clock, I'm going to be on the second floor of the building in Chernarus right next to where the plane crashed, because you wouldn't say that. You wouldn't leave a note there because you're just putting yourself in danger.
Also, Mitch, what's the difference to streaming? Are you against that as well? Watching a stream?
No, Mitch is talking about in-game stuff. Streaming.
Yeah, no, I get that, but in-game stuff is in the streams.
Yeah, but people shouldn't
Yeah,
be using what they
should.
say.
I know that. That's the same token for the nodes. It's literally the same thing.
I do see his point. If people are able to keep the stream meta out of their actual RP, then why shouldn't they be able to keep the note meta as well? But I don't know.
You could argue that with streams you get far more information than on any stupid note you can write down on any on the board or whatever.
It's not about the amount of meta, it's just about how it gets spread, basically. Sure, you can learn a lot of things in streams. There's always been a thing. But at the end of the day, are you going to use that information in game? But no, this is what we battled on a daily basis. We battled metagaming that came from streaming, or supposedly came from streaming, every single time. It's just, you know, how can we mitigate it?
Yeah, I get that, but still, it's
and it's
same
also
thing,
we're trying to
isn't
make.
it?
Nah, but
you're not allowed to metagame.
But we're also trying to make it as realistic as if the notes were in game. So the notes are being posted on the board or being sent privately should be as if you were writing them in game. Forget the metagaming side of stuff, because at the end of the day, it's, you know, it's a battle that we win slowly, but we're never going to win fully. If people want to metagame, like you said, people will metagame. If people watch streams and use that information, they will use it. There ain't a huge amount we can do about that unless we catch them. But I think for realism for the game, let's keep the notes as you would do them in the game.
Also, let's not forget, we can once in a while roleplay and talk to each other, so it's not
yeah, but notes were sometimes they were good additions to roleplay. They were a good addition. And let's be honest, the majority of people here, I don't think the notes are going to be a massive thing. That's why I don't want to make I don't really want to put a notice board in Discord, because it'll turn it into something that, you know, it shouldn't be. It'll start getting used.
What else?
I mean, once notes are fixed in game, just boom, delete the board on, delete the room on Discord.
Don't count that this will be a focus of the dev team right now.
No.
Well, they might already have it fixed. It's just as soon as 6.3 comes out, it'll be death threats are not good, and then it'll be fixed.
Oh.
It's definitely not update. It's definitely not a new update worthy to put out. So.
Well, yeah, but like they might have fixed it already.
Who's that? Flaff, go on. Hey!
Don't mind me.
Baby. Was that it? He just wants
that
to...
was it.
Thanks, Flaff. Next.
I believe the initial thing for notes was if someone wasn't going to be on for a week, it was their way for them to send a note to like the people that they RP with to let them know if they were unable to do so. I wonder if we should just leave it to that, like for now, and just kind of see how that does as kind of, you know, a way to let people know, especially with the whole thing being arisen about, you know, putting a time limit on stories.
Mm-hmm.
Because it might, I can see what we're kind of like trying to do right now, getting like way out of hand, and it's just opening another door for meta and people being accused of meta, and that's just going to put us in another bad predicament, really. Which I understand what Shepard said too about, well, it can come from streams, but part of the job as admins is, and the owner and creating rules and everything, is minimizing the chance for meta to be put out there. And I think having a notice board and everything just widens more opportunities for people who are new and we don't really know to trust. It gives them a wider opportunity to do so.
It's best to tiptoe into it and see how people react to it than throwing them in the deep, I guess.
Yeah. No,
yeah.
I agree. Because to be honest, that's what you sort of intimated when you first started saying that, when you first brought it up. And I know you've got onto other stuff to say, oh, new neighbor, blah blah blah. Let's trial that. Let's do it for the first, like Fluff just said, for people ain't gonna be here, or people that are gonna disappear. You know, write some meaningful notes.
One last suggestion.
Mm-hmm.
You want to do a small server reinitiation. Maybe you want to think about not assuming that every one of us is trying to fuck each other over.
No, I don't think that. You're not listening. That's really not.
No. I'm listening. I'm listening. I'm just so confused that you all seem to be very, very concerned about a message board. Being relaxed on the same token with streams on the same. I just don't understand.
Listen. Let me try and explain it without waffling on. 3-4 months ago, I don't think you were here. We had a real shit time. We had a group of people on here that just didn't get what we were about, didn't like it when it didn't go their way, accused people left, right and centre of doing this, that and the other because it affected their stories. And it was a real shitty atmosphere, mate. It really hurt us. Really hurt us. I think I know
the group.
It was a lot of people, mate. It wasn't just one group. It was a lot of people. People that had been here a long time and people who hadn't been here a long time. And it spread, and it was horrible, and it was shit. It was horrible to log on to as an owner. It was horrible for the admins, and it was horrible for every single person in this community that cared about prophecy. To listen to people's poison, to see what people were doing, and it was sort of accepted. Yes, it is shit that I have to say stuff like this. It's not a case of not trusting people. It's trying to build something where everyone that comes here now knows we're trying to build the safest environment we can and monitor it as best we can.
That's I get what you're saying. That's laudable, really. I'm not trying to give you shit, really. I'm just trying to give you a different perspective. That's all.
Yeah, and I get what you're trying to say. But if people want to watch people on streams and use that in game, they'll get banned. If people want to use the notes, if we do the notes thing, and they use it in the wrong way, they get banned. I'm not talking about everybody here. This is a minority, and I mean a minority. We haven't got anywhere close to the toxic shit that we had 3 or 4 months ago. You guys wouldn't be sat here if you didn't give a fuck. You wouldn't be sat here listening to me waffling on, talking a glass eye to sleep if you didn't give a fuck. And I love that. I was surprised how many people turned up last week, and to be honest, I was surprised how many people turned up tonight. And that's awesome. And you know, when I say about the metagaming and stuff, I'm not talking about the people that are here. I'm talking about the ones that have thrown their teddies out the pram or fucked off elsewhere and whatever. You know,
I have something to add to that, just to kind of maybe clear up some of the confusion. Like I said before, part of it isn't so much that he expects you or thinks you're going to meta. It's more of his job is to not leave so much opportunity for it. As far as people streaming, he can't really say you're not allowed to stream this, you know. But as far as like setting people up, it's kind of like setting people up for failure. We're trying to set everybody up to succeed and not have the temptation to do it. Not that we necessarily think you're going to, but it's a lot less likely if you don't have that opportunity put in front of you.
Fluff's taking the community meetings from now on.
Yeah, that's exactly how.
No, and that's right, and it's the other side of the coin. It's the good and the bad, because, like I said earlier, there's innocent people in here that have been accused of metagaming, that have basically, when it's been brought to me, have been told that's bollocks. They wouldn't do it. And I'll say one person in here that has been accused of metagaming, Salp. Now, does anyone in here think Salp would metagame?
What? Really?
Mm-hmm.
I'm surprised.
Everyone in this room's been accused of metagaming, mate.
I'm pretty sure I've seen Salt be accused of metagaming, and I was like, and I investigated it myself. I'm like, no, everything Salt does can pretty much be proven.
Every day I can.
I'm so good at it, I can hide it from the admin.
Well, to be honest, out of all the people to choose, Salt's probably the worst. He's too busy sorting his fucking tens out to metagame. But that's what I mean. It's for the good and the bad. It stops you guys getting accused of metagaming, because 99.9% of the people on this server turn up at a place legitimately, and I want to get away from that. Let's just scream metagame straight away, because we'll deal with it. If it's metagaming, we'll deal with it. Just give us the opportunity to deal with it first. So yeah, I get what you're saying, and it's Fluff, put it into, she explains it better than I do. Perhaps she can freaking.
I'm just really good at breaking things down when it needs to be broken down.
I'll just give you what I want to talk about, Fluff, and you can fucking take the community meetings from now on.
Oh, can I address my question real quick? Well, it's not really a question, but
yeah, go on.
I had a fussy baby earlier when we were talking about it. But as far as the whole putting a time limit on like stories and stuff, I don't think is smart, because you're always pushing everyone to, be organic, and everyone here at this point should be able to organically know when their character would move on from a situation. You've got, like, say there's a group that terrorized you, and then suddenly they're missing for a long period of time. At some point in time, you're going to hear from people that, hey, they're not being seen around, especially if you're in hiding. You're going to find information out, organically in game, and eventually you're going to move on from that situation naturally. I don't see why we need to kind of give people a crutch and a way to just kind of move on from it. They should be able to build on that themselves.
Yeah, I get that, but I didn't explain it
grudges?
properly.
Is that what you're trying to say?
No, I didn't explain it properly.
All
it
right.
was more for salty people that just leave and then come back when it suits them, and expect their story to continue as if they'd been on the server yesterday. I think is probably the bluntest way of saying it. I'm not talking about people that can't roleplay till the weekends, or they can only roleplay once every 2 weeks. No, it's not about punishing people like that at all. And what you say makes sense, but it also needs to be fair to everyone else that if you leave with a bad taste in your mouth and then you decide to come back because you calmed down, etc., and then expect your story to carry on and everyone's got to revolve around your story, well, that's not fair.
Well, I think it's more of, we should be pushing the belief that everyone should know how to, like, if you're gone for a long time, if you're gone for 2 weeks or 3 weeks or a month and you have real reasons, you should be coming in with some sort of idea of how you're going to bring yourself back into it if you want to. Like, you make up something. I was doing this, or, I was down ill. You should be coming back in, not as if it was just yesterday that you disappeared, because that's not how it works. We need to be pushing that, like, really make things believable. And if you're just coming back after a month gone, even if it's been, even if everybody knew you're going to be gone, that time still passed, and you still need to have some way to put yourself back in the story.
By taking the straw poll down. That's for us to manage.
Why a straw poll?
That depends so much on the person, though.
Yeah, that's for us to deal with.
And a lot. That's the thing, because if it's someone that knows they're going to be gone, often you'd warn them, and then you'd still play it out when you get back.
It's not about. Again, I'm talking about a minority of people here. The majority of you would do what most of you have said. Talk about it. Maybe out of character, you'd say something as well. If it's real life drama, etc., etc. You'd say something in game. I'm talking about someone I'm
Can I
played on
come
the
with an
server for a month.
example? There was a time when I'm just saying we were getting hunted by a certain person for certain reasons. That person disappeared for 3 weeks, no warning, no saying why. Came back and started threatening us over the radio again immediately, even though they hadn't been around for 3 weeks.
Yeah, and that don't make sense.
Why not?
Because it doesn't.
How? How doesn't it make sense?
That person doesn't know what's happened, and realistically,
hang on,
I get what you say, but organically speaking,
hang on, Shep, hang on. You got to think of this on two sides. You got to think about it as the role play, and you've also got to think about it as in real life. Now, is it fair? You all come here to role play, okay? And you all want to come here and tell a story. Now, is it fair that you're restricted, because you are slightly being restricted by someone that expects everything to carry on the last time they played? Because that's not fair to you guys. It's not fair to you, because what if your story's developed into, you know, this person's disappeared, no idea where they've gone, and this is perhaps why I didn't explain it properly at the beginning. We got no idea what they're doing. Are they coming back to the server? Are they coming back to the community, etc., etc., or are they staying away forever? And if, say, your character is playing a certain character and it's developed with this story, they haven't been around for ages, and then your character's developed and you're telling a whole new different story, a whole new different scenario. You've gone off on a completely different tangent to what the story was then. And then these people come back out of the blue and expect that story to continue as it was when they were back 3, 4, 5 weeks earlier. That's not fair to you.
No, but
I
get what you're saying.
It's not fair to you. It's not fair to you.
Either you want organic or not, and if there's a threat to
that's not organic. That's not organic roleplay. Because it's not fair. It's not fair. And that's why I'm saying you've got to think of both sides. Don't just think about the roleplay. It's both sides. It's real life as well as the roleplay.
How is it fair to a person, like, say, for example, my character? She gets threatened, they're going to kill her, they're going to kill everybody she knows. If she doesn't do exactly as she's told within the next 3 days, and 2, 3, 4 weeks go by, nobody's seen them, nobody's heard from them, it's assumed they're all dead, nobody knows anything about them, haven't heard them on the radio, haven't seen hide nor hair of them. My character's moved on, she thinks they're dead. She's moved on, she's learning new things, she's meeting new people, she's growing, she's falling in love, she's doing whatever it is your character's doing at the moment. And then all of a sudden they show up out of the blue again, and just out of nowhere, and they're right back in your face, and you don't know where they've been, you don't know what they've done, and then all of a sudden they expect to pick up right where they left off at, and they expect everything to be right the same. How is that fair?
I get what Shep's saying there.
How does it need to be fair? You're talking about someone threatening you. There's initially no fairness in the situation after.
Shep,
okay, well, I can give you another example.
No, 2 secs, because Shep's concentrating. I know what Shep's doing here. You're concentrating purely on the roleplay, mate.
Yes,
and I get that. However, what I'm saying to you is, just for sake of argument, you don't like something that happened on the server, and you throw your teddy out the pram, you say, fuck you lot, I'm going, I ain't fucking coming back, blah, 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 and you disappear. And as far as we know, you're never coming back. So people are telling the story, and they're doing their role play, not expecting you to come back, not expecting you to be part of that role play. As far as they're concerned, you ain't ever going to appear on this server again. Forget what's happening on the server, we're talking about real life. So you tell a story, and you go off on your tangent, you do whatever it is you do. It may be the same story you're telling when they were there, it may be a completely different story when they come back, and then they come back and expect everyone to follow their story when they left. That's not organic.
I understand that, but just let's assume there's this one guy threatening, and all of a sudden he's gone. But he's still on the server, just being, I don't know, has to do for 2 weeks some other storyline that's got caught him up, he can't push up, he's just entangled in that and can't continue to follow his threatening.
We're not talking about that. We're talking about people that don't even get on the server.
Yeah, but in roleplay there would be no difference to the character.
Yeah, there would. Yeah, there would, because you would still hear about that person out there. You would still know they're out there somewhere. You would hear stories of them. You would hear about them on the radio. And like I said, I can give you another example. I had a guy we were RPing together for a good month. We were RPing as a couple, as a matter of fact. All of a sudden, he just up and vanishes. Some stuff happened in real life. He couldn't get on for a good almost 3 months. But I didn't know that. And the people on the server didn't know that, so the story had to move on without him. And when he comes back, the story's all different.
You're right.
There's a big difference.
Can I add to it as well?
Mm-hmm.
In my example, with the whole, like, someone coming back after 3 weeks, this person goes on about having followed us, stalked us, watched us, heard all about what's happened, stuff like that. And I'm not saying that they in one day.
Form, all right. I get that. That's just bad form.
Yeah, I don't think this is coming across right for some people. It's
I understand what you want to say. Don't leave the show and expect everything to be the same, so everyone is just focusing around your story arc, so you can continue roleplay. If you come back after a long hiatus, you have to reacquaint yourself with the situation, see if your friends are still alive, possibly see if your enemies are still alive, get a general feel about this. I understand that, and I understand it perfectly fine. I just don't think you can regulate this thing without losing organic roleplay.
But that's where you're missing that's the bit you seem to be missing. Is it's not organic. It's because if you Fluff, fucking help me out here.
You can organically move on over time through RP.
Technically, it would be organic.
The baby
that was my
doesn't
main
have
thing.
the
Was like,
answers.
I was
Yes,
just saying
it does.
it because I feel like it should be, as our peers here, we should be promoting people to try a little bit harder to do that, and that have an all-around knowledge that it is not, that you have to accept that time does move on, people are going to move on, and I feel like just pushing that, like, it doesn't need to be like a time limit.
Everything go
it's just
quiet
more
for a
of people
second?
should know that naturally everybody is going to move on from the situation. If you're missing for a long time, you're not there, even like real life, someone goes missing, you're going to start questioning why that happened. You're going to, take steps to either move on from that, figure out what happened, and eventually you're going to naturally, your story is going to naturally change. And I don't really understand why there needs to be a time limit. Like, I guess that's kind of my thing, because in every situation, whether it's you're being threatened, you have a love interest, like, you eventually are going to get over that. And that person that has been missing, they should have the understanding that if you've been gone for a long period of time, when you're coming back in, you can't just reinsert yourself back into their story without explanation. People aren't going to trust you anymore, or they're going to assume that you were dead. So you're going to possibly, like, if you're threatening people and you're coming back, for all you know, everybody that was in your group and supporting you is gone. So you're not going to come back in automatically threatening all these people again, because you don't have all that back you. For all you know, all these people could have turned on you. People need to, and now I'm stumbling for my own words. We need to kind of enforce that people need to create stories within the self. If you're gone, you need to come back with a story. You can't just come back. You have to have some reasoning behind why you were gone, how you got back, and for all we know, you're a completely different person now. Maybe you're good when you were bad before, you had some sort of revelation, And
why you're continuing what you're doing.
Yeah, like, you have to have some story. You can't just come back. You have to come back with a story.
Again, it's a minority thing.
Yeah.
It's another one of those things, minority, because majority of you do. If you're not going to be here, you tell people you're not going to be here, and people play that into their story. I'm talking about the people that disappear, come back, and expect everything to be exactly the same as the moment when they logged off the last time they were on the server.
I would suggest don't make it like a hard rule. Like, here's the timeline.
No, it's going to be like a guidance thing. Yeah, it's not going to be a rule. It'll be a guidance thing. Because what there will be on the new website, there'll be the rules page, and there'll be like a guidance, best practice type thing.
Call it RP etiquette rules. Well, not really rules, just call it RP etiquette, really.
Yeah, like etiquette.
Like, I feel more like it is more of a guidance thing, and not something like that. Some are veterans. Like, I feel like that's kind of where I'm a little bit confused, because I feel like some people that should know better and know how to move on from that, kind of know what to do, and I'm just, but then again, on the other aspect, the people that are actually enjoying it, which I know I'm guilty of it sometimes, but every time I come back with a story. I know better, you know. But for people that are new, it's one of those situations where if it happens, we can talk to them and it gets hopefully sorted. But I understand with like it is a minority, like if we're widening our community and trying to get more people in, you know, it's going to be an issue. So I can see where it could kind of need to be put up. But I don't know so much if it needs to be like the whole, hey, time limit, as far as put up that, you know, hey, if you're leaving for a long period of time, if you've been gone for a long period of time, you need to come back with a story. On more like that, directed towards that, other than after 2 weeks, these people have pretty much, you know, forgotten about you and moved on.
Nope, agree with you. And that, you know, that's why I bring it up. It's an idea, and then we ash it out and come up with the best idea. So it'll go up on a guidance thing. It would never be a rule, because it's not a fair rule, and it would put people off, etc. So yeah, we'll do it on the guidance sheet. Okay. Howard, did you want to say something earlier?
I didn't know. Me and Sven were thinking about talking about something like maybe a day or two ago, and that's you are talking about like how you're saying things have to change if people are gone after a while. Well, that leaves what Sven and I and dude who plays Jackson and Ethan, like we have to deal with the Imperium. That's like our main thing, and the other, you know, 60% of our time is thinking about what can we do for everyone else as a UN player. And you know, if the Imperium goes, we're pretty much going to be like, well, we're just going to be twiddling our thumbs thinking up ideas.
Great.
But
great.
The thing
what you
about
should be
that
doing
is,
as a role player.
Yeah, and the thing about that is like we can't just sit here and wait for the Imperium to show up once every 2 weeks whenever they feel like getting on. You know what I mean?
No, I get that, and that's what, you know, that's not what this is about, but that's what this is about. It's for people that do come on. You know, if there's a player that's had a major impact on a lot of people's characters, and it's an important part of those people's stories, out of character, they need to know if they're going to be around, because that's what you're here for, is to role play. And yeah, that's a bit of OC, but we have to take that into account. You can't expect people just to sit around and wait for someone to turn up. However, what I've said and always said is you shouldn't have and I'm not saying this is what you're doing, this is general, you shouldn't have a mindset where this is my character, this is where my character's going, this is my story. You need to be open to change. And if it means your group splits up, or your group does something else, or your group develops in another direction, don't be scared to do that. But we need to manage the like Fluff said, you know, we need to manage people that do come back, have to make sense when they come back. They can't just come back and carry on their story 2 weeks down the line, because in server time, that's what 2 weeks would be. I don't know, 2 months, something like that, maybe. And people's stories could have changed drastically.
Yeah. I mean, I've also brought up like the idea of like people who have old characters to bring up a history. But I mean, if they haven't been around, if they've been benched for like 4 months, then I can see why you wouldn't want to do that.
Well, they could if they got a story and they build that story back up, and you know, if they can, like Fluff said, if they come back as a different character, great. If they come back as the same character, then they've got to work that character back up. They can't just come back being, just as they go back and you were the top bad person on the server, and you had a major part in everybody's story, and you've been involved in it. You can't come back and expect that to carry on, because everyone else would have moved on. You need to rebuild that story if that's what you were going to do, because it wouldn't make sense. It wouldn't make sense.
I'm going to try and help this for Shepard. So, you know how you're saying that doesn't make any sense or whatever? Pretty much you got to think of it in a comic book form. Like the bad guy gets sent away every once in a while, and then like next season he'll come back. That's pretty much what they're saying, Shepard.
I I understand. I perfectly understand. I'm just used to it. If you're inconsistent with playtimes and pull off that shit, you will just naturally be
Just pick it
handed
right
down
when
the
it's
line
started.
of importance. Oh yeah, there's those two guys who threaten us eventually, showing up every once in a month, if anything. Yeah, I'm not going to let my story revolve around those guys. I have to make sure some initiative is focused on them when they're around, but generally, obviously, I can't build a story around that.
No, I think we're talking more about characters that have got a big impact on everyone else as well. I'm not talking about someone that I don't know is fucking Frank in the camp and turns up once a week. Well, Frank in the camp who turns up once a week, who comes on for a bit of friendly campsite role play, is a hunter and he fucks off for a week. And he comes in and he's the type of player in real life that comes on and wants to chill out once a week and a bit of role play. I'm talking more I am talking more about people that have got a big impact on a lot of people's stories, and their story is the story on the server at the time.
But that fades away then.
But that's what I'm saying. Yeah, it should fade away, but that's not what was happening. People are coming back,
okay.
and straight away I'm carrying my story on where I left it off. But we've all moved on. No, that's not fair to everyone else. Perhaps that makes a bit more sense.
Isn't it?
Yeah, but people do it. Anyway, who's next?
Alabama.
Me.
Go on, Bam.
Would it be best for me to keep my character Lewis Ray, because my last gaming computer, it's been about a year now, and it leaked its water cooling, and it pretty much screwed it up. And I talked to Darkmost about it, and he said it was fine with the whole reapplying and everything. I wouldn't have to, but would it be best to keep my character or come up with some backstory for him? Because here in a few months, I'm gonna have my new gaming computer all complete and built and everything ready to get back on the server.
What's your character?
Lewis.
Which one's Lewis?
He's the creepy one.
What does he do?
Why does everybody call me creepy?
You were creepy to Rowan.
I'm the nicest character you'll meet.
You did say Rowan's life.
Regardless if your character's the nicest one, he's creepy as hell.
He is super creepy.
Well,
I feel like I know who he is, but I'm trying to place him in my head, but I'm literally going through all my head.
I made him around the time of the last week or two of Scarlet Manor.
Yeah.
Holy cow, that's
he was
so
there.
long
You
ago.
are the person I was thinking of then. Okay.
Again, this is, we could go on about, I think it's situational, and I think each case will have to be dealt with separately. But if your character wasn't having a major impact on people, or it was a major part of people's stories, and it was affecting their stories, and it was, they had to.
No, those people are dead.
And if it was stuff like that, then yes, you would still have to come back with a reason. If you were going to continue the same whatever it is you were doing, you would have to build that back up again. You'd have to have a reason why you've gone away for.
I mean, I can make a story. His backstory allows it, I guess, if you want to get into it. But I was just wondering from an admin standpoint, would it be best for the server to bring back an old character?
What I don't want
like
to do is people to worry about now. Just normal everyday people that come on your regularly-ish. That's not even a word, is it? What's the word I'm looking for? You know what I mean. To feel that they can't because this is what we're talking about. I'm talking about a major story, a major impact, a number of players on the server. Because at the moment, with the numbers, if there's a major story, practically everyone's involved in it. And is it fair to all those other people in real life as well now, not just roleplay, to wait around for certain people to get back on to continue that story? I don't think that's fair. I get what Shep's saying about the organic roleplay, etc. I get that. But I don't think it's fair to people. And it is something that's been brought up to me by quite a few people, to say that this person's not been around for a while, or this person's not been around for a while. There's this going on. Now, do I continue my story, not knowing whether that person's coming back or not? And when I say continue their story involving that person. So for sake of argument, if it was Sam hunting Sandwich, and Sandwich never goes on the server again, well, what am I doing? I'm playing roleplay that I don't really want to do, but I'm doing it for the sake of a story. I get what Shep's saying, that I could do that for a couple of weeks. But if that person's never going to be around, is it fair in real life to expect someone to do that? Because you all come here for fun at the end of the day. You come here to role play and come here to enjoy yourselves. And if you're doing something for someone that's never going to come back or going to come back in 2 weeks' time, is that really fair to you? It's not enjoyable.
It's all good as long as it's only it's not a hard-coded rule. It's all good.
No,
I strongly believe that too much regulation severely harms roleplay.
Yeah, no, and I don't want loads of regulation. I really don't. And to be honest, most of our rules are based around metagaming.
I know.
You know, there's the only reason I put rules in, and there'll always be a reason for the rules I put in, is for realism and metagaming. And I think it'd be fair to say that 90% of our rules are based around that. I'd love to have no metagaming rules in there, but unfortunately, there are people that do it. So yeah, Bam, you know, when you're ready to come back or when you think, we'll have a chat nearer the time. But if he's not someone that's had a massive impact and he's not going to come back and suddenly expect Sam to continue the story that happened a year ago, I don't see a problem with that. But it's situational in there. But I think just to clear up with everyone that's not here, this isn't about every single character. This is about major characters, with major parts in other people's stories that we've already discussed, if that makes sense. Who's next? Okay, was it?
Alabama again.
Alabama.
Go on, Al.
Oh, yeah, different question that I've just been wondering for a while, but I never really had time to talk to it or come into the meetings to ask. But on a completely different note, servers always changing, rules are sometimes changing, you're always having to deal with new things, stuff comes up. But have you started on a plan yet? Because here in a few months, it's guesstimated that the new update's going to come, and with that, a whole new type of playstyle. Have you started thinking about rules and where you're going to go with the server on that?
Yeah. I ain't going to bring that out until we know when 6.3 is coming out, because they say it's going to be a couple of months. Is it? When we got
at least summer. At least July.
Septic Falcon, big DayZ guy that knows a lot about it. He's guessing about May.
It's July.
Everyone's got their own time about it.
But yeah,
I'm thinking probably the end of the year.
No. In answer to your question, mate, yes. There's things in the pipeline. We could
I
sit
was just
here
wondering because base building is going to change it a lot.
Yeah, it will. I'm hoping
it's not really base building though, is it? It's more of fortification.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you this, guys. I can tell everybody this. There will not be base building on our server. There will be barricading, but there will not be base building. I will not have base building.
There will be base building in the main game anyway.
Well, Hixie said ages ago that he didn't want base building for exactly the same reason I didn't want it, is because it'll end up looking like fucking Arma 2 and Arma 3, where you got loads of crappy bloody towers everywhere, or crappy buildings, or apart buildings that just look shit. I've always said, you know, if we get to mod it, it'll be barricading existing structures. You know, there was that video. I'll just see if we can find it and link it in Discord of the Russians when they've somehow got the files, etc. And it showed the barricading, and it's great. You barricade the windows up, you can lock the doors, you can barricade the doors. It's more realistic.
What about the little fortified camps that we've seen in?
Oh, you mean with the sandbags and stuff?
A little bit of that, but the stuff we've seen, the concept
honest with you,
seen.
You fuckers can't keep the 2 tents and fucking 3 barrels. Can you imagine what it's like if I say to you lot, yeah, crack on, go and build yourself little barricades. Fuck me, no one will be able to walk on the map.
Can you imagine if we had like 10 different cars in the server, 10 different variety of different cars? Everyone's going to want one of every car.
Fucking Sap will be there building 68 fucking barricades around his 48 tents.
I mean...
No, go on, mate, go on.
Like the concept art that we've seen, the camps that the devs have said this could be a possibility. Is stuff like that allowed for not maybe... It would take a lot of people to build that and a lot of time. So perhaps maybe for a larger group.
If it was for little, you know, I've seen the ones they've done, and yes, it could look good, and I think that would be a case of we'll suck it and see, and if people take the piss, then it won't be allowed. And you and I both know people are going to take the piss.
Yeah.
You know we're going to have, well, hopefully by that time, we'll have that community that we spoke about last week where everyone's here for the same reason, with the same mindset, and we'll take into account that building 68 stupid bloody barricades all over the map is, all that's going to happen is we just get wipes all the time.
And I just think for now, we can speculate and talk about it all night, but until we actually see it and actually have it, I don't think it's it's worth the time.
We got loads of plans for 6.3, Bam. I got loads of ideas for 6.3. Yes, it is being spoken about. Yes, I am planning it. But until we know for definite when it's coming, we could talk of all the great things we want. Blah 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 blah. It could be good. You know, those little barricades could look good if it was done right. And like I said, hopefully when it does come out, we'll have that community where people want it to look right, not having fucking towers built across a road or sky towers, and because it just looks shit. You can guarantee someone will build something bigger than fucking Green Mountain.
Yeah. I don't think the base stuff in the game will allow something like that.
I think it's more of the case of sandbags and just like a tower and stuff like that. It's never actually
just a small lookout tower
foundations
to look over the walls.
We'll second and see.
Yeah.
I said, we'll second and see. We'll give it a go, and if it works, great. If it doesn't, then we'll try and change it. And then when you lot get fed up of wipes every half hour, because you know what'll happen, people will start building something somewhere, and then, let's move here, and they'll go and build somewhere else, and they'll put a floor here and a wall there and a hex sack here, and before you know it, we're having the same problem with the servers as everything else.
Well, I mean, there is a 420 server that's up every now and then that you can do base building on it if you want to test out what there is to do. All I know right now is there's a wall that looks like the normal just 10 walls that you can put camo on and open up and whatnot. That's about it. That's all I know.
But that's illegal.
And yes, it's very
bad. Particular about not joining those servers.
Yeah, the DayZ dev team don't want people.
I wouldn't touch it
doing
with a
that sort of
barge
stuff.
pole, especially running the community. If I just on the off chance they caught me on that server and they just said, "Well, you're banned," and shit, I wouldn't bother.
I don't get on the servers. I just watch videos about them.
Just like I said, at the end of the day, it's down to you guys. I am going to be chucking more responsibility towards the community. I want you guys to help. I want you guys to get involved. I want you to have a say. I want you to feel like this is yours. I want you to be part of it. I want you to have the same passion that I've got for it. I want you to feel like it's yours. So when something does go wrong, that instead of some people sticking their head in the sand and either one disappearing or getting involved in it, is do the right thing. Don't be scared to do the right thing, because this is yours. That's what I was trying to say earlier when I was waffling, as Dark said, which I was, is that's what this has always been about. It's never been about just the DayZ roleplay server for me. It's never been just about a bog standard community for me. I do care genuinely about every single person that's stuck by us. I really do. Stuff I type, I don't just say it for the sake of saying it. I genuinely mean it. I don't need to do this. It's a headache for me sometimes. It really is. It's a headache for the admins. I'm a headache to the admins sometimes. We don't get fuck all for it. And this is the bit that sounds all a bit pink and fluffy and a bit dribbly. Our payment is seeing you guys enjoy yourself, seeing you guys make awesome friends, hearing those stories, hearing about how one of you has helped someone in real life. That's payment for me. It's never been about money. It's never been about being famous. I couldn't give a fuck if we were the smallest DayZ server in the world. I just want the same like-minded people here, and for the people that don't get it, to leave nicely. I'm not here to give people a hard time. I'm not here to, I've had arguments with people in this room. It's not about me being pissy. It's when I say, if you don't like it here, find somewhere where you will enjoy it. That's not me being pissy and telling you to fuck off. I genuinely want you to go and find somewhere where you'll be happy. Where you won't sit in this room and start being toxic because you're not getting your own way. Because it's not going to change. This is what we are, and this is who we are, and this is what we're going to be. I want to be able to log on the server when and if I ever get the chance to fucking roleplay again, and and have awesome roleplay where I want to stay on for 24 hours because it's that great. If I want cheap roleplay, I'll go elsewhere. And everyone in this room and everyone that's in this community is capable of that. But some people aren't. And I wish they'd stop wasting their time and mine by trying to break it. Because we ain't going anywhere. But I want you guys to feel that same thing. And I know some of you do. And I know not all of you will. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes.
Anyway, I'm waffling again, sorry.
Yes.
Uh,
Stop mentioning waffles.
Can open up a breakfast.
Not waffle.
We're getting hungry.
But no, it's important to me, guys, that you understand that. It is. That's what this is all about. Because if it isn't about that, what are we doing here?
Derping?
Yeah. Anyway, any more questions?
I was wondering if someone or anyone could like do a sort of PR thing for you guys, if not the admins, like get on Reddit, the DayZ forum, stuff like that, and start advertising to get the
Wait till 2 weeks' time.
2 weeks?
Mm-hmm.
Why are we waiting 2 weeks again? I'm sorry. I just
For all
got
the
in
changes
here,
to happen.
The waffles need to be done.
Mm-hmm.
What are
That's-
they?
I got
Okay.
I got plans in 2 weeks for a mini relaunch. And were you here last meeting, Howard?
I was, yeah.
Yeah.
I got in like the last 2 hours of it.
You guys are gonna be more involved in that, as in being more involved in the type of people we get in this server. So you'll be on the interview teams. I'll be advertising for admins again. There'll be an interview team application going out shortly. There'll be admin application going out shortly. I was going to do it this week. I think it'd make more sense if I do it a week before the relaunch. That way we can get everyone trained up and right. As on side on the PR side of things, and please no one that's listening to this take this wrong. I've always been a firm believer in not getting involved in shit. If people say something shitty about us, or try and start some Twitter battle or whatever, I won't get involved in it. I don't care. I speak to them privately. And you notice we don't get much of that, and there's a reason why we don't get much of that. So if people that are going to be on the PR team have to understand that, and it's hard sometimes, especially when they're dragging something down that you care a great deal about. I don't take it personally. They're not important. Biggest punishment you can give people like that is to fucking ignore them, because they soon go away. That's a big thing for us. It's a toxicity thing. I want that out of you. I really do. So yeah, as I said, you guys are going to have a lot more involvement if you want it. Those that are interested, I am picky. Don't take it personally if you get turned down. It's for a reason. But it's definitely going to be coming, because I can't do as much as I used to be able to. The admins can't do as much as they can, because we've all got real lives. And the community's going to have to step up. I think I spoke to Sven the other day and said, take your head out your ass and start helping. Which a lot of you do. But it needs all of us. Because I haven't got the answers to everything. This has been a good meeting tonight. We've talked about some stuff. We've hashed it out. Come up with some good ideas. And you guys can look at the rules and whatever, or the guidance page, and take pride in the fact that was you that brought that up. That's your idea. You're part of Prophecy now. You've made this. You've been a part of it, not just me waffling on for fucking hours. Sorry, waffle. I'll change it. Shut up. I'm starving now. I shouldn't said waffles, because you're putting waffle fucking
Literally for the past 5 minutes now, they've been talking about food.
I know. Pancaking on. There we are. I'm pancaking on.
Oh god.
That's just as bad.
Because I'm genuine about this, guys. If you guys want to help, and you really do, then come and speak to me. I'm bored of the shit now. I'm fed up of the shit. That 3-4 months we had of constant drama and shit every fucking day done my head in. It didn't help me in real life either. Because we come here to escape. We come here to chill out, have a laugh, hang out, whether it's DayZ or other games, etc. And for me, it wasn't that at all. It was far fucking from it. It was fucking horrible. And it was upsetting, as in, not sat here bawling my eyes out, but it was upsetting watching something we've created going down the fucking pan. And I don't want that anymore. So, when I put the ideas page thing up on there, chuck your fucking ideas in there. And if you don't want to put it up there because you feel stupid or whatever reason you don't want to stick it up there, then message me. And we can talk about it. And if it fits what we're about, then we'll chuck it in. It's your opportunity now, guys. We're going to relaunch in 2 weeks. Fingers crossed. No later than 3. And yeah, we'll be doing all that, Howard. We'll be re-advertising. We'll be getting back into the events. We'll be getting back into all the stuff we did before it all started turning shitty. Because I'll be honest with you, I didn't want to do events, so I thought, what's the point? And I was shit, feeling like that. All that stuff I said last week about characters coming on the server to be part of the lore, that's all going to be happening, and you guys can be part of that if you want. Don't leave it to us to do. If you want to be part of the server lore and you want to be part of a character that plays a part in that server lore, then no problem at all. If it means you've got to have a second account on the server to play it, great. Get a second account, come on the server. But anyway. I'm in fucking prophecy mode now, so I could talk all fucking night, so I'll shut up now. Any other questions? Nope.
How was your day?
Oh, awesome, mate. I did a 12-hour shift. But it's better now.
Sam, after meeting stuff, I do want to get you for like 5 minutes.
No problemo. And if anyone else does want to speak to me, then I guess Sven wants to speak to me as well. If anyone else wants to speak as well, just dive up in the waiting rooms and I'll get to you when I get to you. Other than that, guys. Yeah. Oh yeah, if you want to speak to me, just put Sam after your name. If it's just admin-y stuff, then don't put Sam after your name.
Can I just add a comment? It's not really a question or a request.
Yeah,
one thing I do miss, and I understand people have their personal lives and things come up, and I'm not getting angry or upset, not trying to hurt anyone's feelings whatsoever, but I do miss being able to scroll through Twitch and watching all different types of streams.
Not that many people streaming at the moment.
It's been a while.
It's DayZ in general.
No, I get what you're saying, mate, but I am going to give the responsibility to others for posting stuff out. I do retweet people that stream on here, but we don't have a huge amount of people streaming it on the server at the moment.
I would if my computer could handle it.
Yeah,
I remember those
I'm
days
working on
when
right now. I'm trying to get a computer that can do that.
Well, I'm in the process, so...
Who was that? Magic, was it?
Yep.
Good boy. Yeah, I need coffee as well.
Also, general thing, if you are a streamer or you're going to be a streamer, post us a link. We'll put it on the stream links on Discord.
And to be fair, like most people that started streaming on this server at the very beginning have done well out of it. Luke. I've done well out of it. I mean, Dark, when you first started, you didn't have that many, did you?
You're a Twitch affiliate now, aren't
you? I was about 100-ish followers, and I went up to about 500, 600 now, and I went from having almost no people watching to 10, 15 sometimes.
I agree with you, Bam. I want that back again. I wanted the everyone. If Dark went off, then he went and hosted someone else, and in fairness to the streamers that are on at the moment, they do that. But everyone used to do that. And then people would go in their streams and watch them and blah, 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 blah. We'll get it back. We will get it back. I'm confident we'll get it back. Were we broken after the shit? Yeah, we were. Have we stopped? No, we haven't. And the amount of guys that turned up last week and the amount of guys that turned up this week, it'll only get better. I was quite negative through it, and I wanted to shut it down on some occasions because I had a guts full. But I didn't. I made that promise to keep it going, and I will.
I have a neat idea that's probably been brought up a lot of times, but I have no idea if it has.
If it's about Dark doing the dance in his clumping and his ladles and with a tulip, then we've already had that idea.
Really?
No, that's not it. Oh, I was gonna go more of a
I'll join him.
idea. What if the server was to be able to, all the streamers or whatnot, they're able to do all this editing and whatnot. We're able to create a YouTube together, and all the characters of the lore and all the events and everything that happen in the actual main server. Were to create just a small little 5-minute at the most clip of something of just a little segment of what all's going on to get people hyped for it and everything.
Yes.
Highlight or something, or preview?
Yeah, highlights of the week of prophecy.
Okay, there we are then. Here's a challenge for... This is the community stars pulling their finger out their ass and helping. I think realistically it's going to be 3 weeks of relaunch. I'd love to get it done in 2, but I think realistically it's going to be 3. So by Friday next week, as all of you will be on a server, most of you can record, not all of you can stream. For those who want to be part of it, give me 2 minutes worth of footage that I can edit. And if I can't do it, someone put their hands up who can edit and can do a good job, and we'll use that for the relaunch.
Well, I'm good for the Adobe Premiere and everything like that, but that's going to take a few months till I get my computer running, because right now I'm running on a potato. A literal potato that I dug out of the ground and put a cord into it.
I got the program, but I mean, my video editing skills aren't amazing.
Well, there we
Adobe
are.
Premiere
There's a
is
challenge.
really easy,
For those
not
that are
gonna lie.
streaming, and for those that can record, give me 2 minutes of footage between now and Friday. You get 2 weeks. Send me the footage, but I'd like to have a bunch by next week so I can do some next weekend, and then I'll get the rest in, and hopefully get it all done for the relaunch, and we'll have a new video for the relaunch.
Get some streaming.
Yeah, my idea originated from like making players
Nope,
just
it could
these
be
little, their little interview preview videos and everything, them each having their own, but
Well, an
that'd
idea
be
we
too
had.
much work.
No, not really. It's not that hard. An idea we had before was Darkmoss was going to be a radio DJ, and he was going to interview people over the. He was going to interview people on the server. And we had I made up a radio channel with like a jingly type thing, and he interviewed Sandwich, or Sandwich sent in a recording of him torturing someone, and it sounded fucking awesome. Something like that'd be good. Or someone could play a character that had a character no one's allowed to kill. They could go around and interview everyone as like someone who's in the press.
I would test that not be able to kill theory.
Also, I fixed the waffle taco.
A what?
A waffle
Why
taco
do I
with
keep
ice
hearing
cream.
waffles? What's the big deal about waffles? What did I miss?
Waffling on's a saying over here if you like talk like fucking like I can, talk a glass eye to sleep. Waffling on. It's just a saying. Someone who talks a lot. But yeah, no, some people send me footage. I'll put a link up on Discord for where you can send it. And I can start editing then. So if people have got old stuff, it doesn't have to be new stuff, it can be old stuff. Something that they've kept because it's great, even better. I'll stick something up on Discord where you can send it to me and I can start editing it. See?
Yeah, I would think that would help out the server. I know you're not worried about player count too much, like you said, but
No,
I think
I
it would
am,
help out
I
with
am.
the player count if we
To
like
be
got
honest,
a
'cause of all
we
the
got a
shit-
YouTube channel that would actually hype up people and be like, oh, that's a cool server. That they're doing all that kind of stuff in the videos. Why don't I
and we
get a
did
part
have
of
that.
that?
We have got a YouTube channel. We just never used it, and to be honest, because of the last 4 or 5 months, it just hasn't been the buzz there to do that, which is why we're having the relaunch. It is going to be, a relaunch. All back to advertising, all back to the plans we had before, where we got a YouTube channel, because you guys can send us clips. I'll stick it on the YouTube channel if you want to, if you haven't got your own, or you can stick it on your own and ours. All the stuff we've got in the background. I'm toying with the idea of letting streamers stream on Prophecy if they want to. I know that's obviously going to affect their channels. get back into hosting people, etc., etc. We'll just build up again. It's going to take time. Ain't going to happen overnight. It didn't when we started, and it won't now. 6-3 will be a massive boost to us. Say again?
We will be better than the red zone.
I'm not going to knock any other server. We will be different to the red zone. We'll be different to any other server out there, and we'll be something big-headed, better. A better difference.
Well, you're the owner, so you're pretty much you can't knock out others. But I'm Mr. Alabama.
Yeah, well, we won't get into that. They offer what they offer. We'll offer what we offer. But yeah,
I do miss the red zone though, for real. It was good.
Yeah.
Can we knock Daisy RP though?
Nope. Nope. They are what they are. We are what we are, and we'll leave it at that. Right. So, has anyone got anything else? Because I desperately need a fucking coffee now. Nope. Okay. Well, it's been a long one tonight, guys, but a good one. Like I said, chuck your ideas in. Don't care if they're silly ones, good ones, whatever. Chuck them in. Make this yours. Make it part of what you want it to be. Can only get better. So, if there's nothing else, I'm knocking on the head then. Good. Right, Fluff, I will be with you in 2 minutes because I desperately need a coffee and the dog's doing the I need to pee myself dance.
Alright.
So, just to clarify it, zombies, no permit, but it is a permit if you get twatted and run off. PvP areas, wait for it to go up on Discord. Hopefully by the end of the weekend that'll be up. Server restarts, I will start tomorrow at 11 AM, so it'll be 6-hour restarts. The time limit, that's gone. We've spoken about that. That'll go up as guidance. And I think that was it.
Oh, one last idea. I'm sorry. I know you can go.
That's right.
But I think one thing that would help a lot in general would be an end game, because that's one thing Daisy in general is missing is an end game, and that's one thing I'm hoping for after they get to the beta that they're going to be able to make really easy is end game, because I mean really all you have to do, you can implement role play rules and all that kind of stuff, but you spawn, loot, and die, and then repeat. That's all you do. You can play it in different ways, but that's all you can do. So I was thinking maybe of like having that lore stuff, being able to be like an NPC in a safe zone and give out missions and go able to do stuff. I mean, I understand you want to keep to the organic side, but it'd be a little bit more on the planned side of RP if you did that. But I think it would be interesting at least to think about.
Yeah, that's what the lore was always supposed to be. There is a story. The events were for you guys to mold that story. There was 6 different endings, or there will be 6 different endings because I'm bringing it back. As in endgame stuff, it's different with roleplay. I get what you're trying to say. It's different with roleplay. The end game is you. It's how you create your character. It's where you go with your characters, how you develop it, how you create your story. Forget Daisy. I want people to forget Daisy the game. We're just using the game as a film set. I'd love to wipe everyone's memories of Daisy, what it is, what it has been, what it's supposed to be.
Daisy.
Just use the game because it's an awesome looking game. It's a beautiful looking game. It's got its problems, but it is probably one of the best multiplayer games out there for what we want it for. It's just film set. But yeah, there'll be lore and there'll be a new story. Well, the plan is, the lore from last year will continue in the relaunch. And then there is the makings of the sequel in a year's time. But that will make more sense when the events start happening, the lore starts coming back out again, the characters you bump into on the server that will be making an appearance that you can get clues from, that'll only be on the server for a certain amount of time. You'll be told that somewhere on the map Dark Moss is playing Billy Bragg, who's got some part in what's happened. You, whether you want to or whether you don't want to, it's entirely up to you. Go and find him and speak to him.
Kill him.
You kill him. I'm not gonna say anything. I'm not gonna say anything.
You doom us all to die.
You don't
I like
know.
her attitude.
Or to go insane.
But anyway, right, I need coffee and I need to go and speak to Sven and Fluff and Howard and anyone else who wants to go up there. So I'm done. Thank you all for coming again. And I shall see you. We may have one next week, but definitely in 2 weeks. And hopefully the relaunch as well. But I need to speak to someone tomorrow for that. So, love your faces. Thank you all very much for coming. It's been a good one tonight.
You do.
I'm out. Fuck me. Are you all just going to go up into the fucking waiting room now?
Probably.
Oh, no.
Fuck's sake.
Oh, jeez.
That's full.
I think I'll stay here.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're welcome here.
Right, I need to go make coffee, guys. Dark, thanks for recording it, dude.
Well, son, see ya. I'm gonna go to bed.
Alright, big boy, I'll speak to you
It's
soon.
like almost 3 a.m.
Yeah, it's not time for me to
Pretty normal.
It's just early. Stop being such a girl's blouse.
Aww.
If you have no point going to bed now, you might as well get on the server, start roleplaying.
Exactly.
I might just.
If you have nothing to do tomorrow, it's the right idea.
Right, I'm
I'm
out.
at work.
3 a.m. Yeah, no, I'm not getting on roleplay just now.
God, such a pussy.
What, you've
You're
a pussy.
I take that as a challenge.
You're not going to go and check your tents?
It's not even his
I
tent.
think I'm going to
Now
do it
that you
right
say
now.
it.
How can you possibly go to bed without